This is a Miami Sports Music Podcast Network production. This is Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers.
I know the whole city riding. A little early, it's a bit surprising. Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter column. Whole squad been trained to go. Fence for life, we throw the folk. Singing this just to welcome bro.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, Stephen D. And this is Clock Blockers, home of the #1 Miami fan morning show right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. What is up? How y'all doing today? Super excited to be hanging out with you. We got a lot to talk about. A lot of news broke down in the last 12 hours. Just a lot of stuff to go over, a lot of stuff to talk about. And we're going to get into all that this morning right here on Clock Blockers. Super excited. My name is Stephen D. You can follow me on all social media at Stephen D. SKPL. Spread kindness, positivity, and love. You can follow me on all social media. Make sure you follow me on Twitter because I'm on Twitter a lot. So make sure you follow me there. Miami Sports Music, you can follow them at Miami Sports Music right there, and also at MIA Sports Music on Twitter, actually. So make sure y'all do that, okay? Want to remind you all to hit the like button. Tap the like button. Tap it. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you do that. Be a lot of fun. We'd love to get new people signed up to the channel. If you're not a member of the channel, what are you doing? What are you doing? Make sure y'all do that now. And then, as you can see there right at the bottom, join now. Sign up to become a member. All right, and help the channel grow by donating. As a matter of fact, we're not even doing that. Any donations that you guys give Wednesday, yesterday, and today, we are going to give to the Damar Hamlin Foundation. So please donate to the channel. You can use the YouTube Live Super Chat, or you can use Cash App and PayPal. You see the QR codes right on your screen. They're pretty big, and I'll even drop the Cash App and PayPal here, where the proceeds we're going to send to Damar Hamlin's Chasing M's Foundation, which is pretty cool. Big news about Damar. He's up. He's still on a ventilator, but he's up. He's communicating. These are all good signs. He's communicating non-verbally. Because he's got the ventilator, still on a breathing tube. He's still in the ICU. He's still in critical condition, but it's awesome that he's up. It's awesome that he's communicating, and we just want to do our part to, help him do what he wants to do more of, and that's give. And that's the type of people we love and we support here at the channel. And that's all about spread kindness, positivity, and love. That's what we're going to do. I want to give a big shout out to our sponsors of the show, ZSM Sports. ZSM Sports cards, jerseys, balls, and hard-to-find items. Specializing in sports memorabilia, make sure you give ZSM Sports a follow today. Hangry Owls, good food, good mood, craft subs and salads. You're in South Florida in Pembroke Pines area. Make sure you give them a call at 305-279-5332. And make sure you follow them on Instagram at Hangry Owls. Vesa Sur. Born and raised, a beer created for the fans, by the fans, the official beer of Clock Blockers, Vesa Sur. And then, obviously, a great place to sit.com. Make sure you go follow them. The price you see is the price you get. No ticket or service fees, and great place to sit.com. And then, last but not least, Tail Greeter. We love Tail Greeter. Download the app today on your current Apple or Android device. Make sure you follow Tail Greeter today. They're pretty awesome. All right. Today's Spread Kindness Friday. We're going to talk about the future of the franchise. We're going to talk about Stephen Ross, Mike McDaniel, Chris Greer. We're going to talk about NFL playoff scenarios for this weekend. We're going to get into all of that. But it is Friday. And I haven't had this man on in the last couple of weeks because it's been the holidays. It's been crazy. Scheduling's been crazy. But he's back. He usually is on Thursdays, but I think he's going to go to Saturdays here on the podcast network. Starting this week, I hope. I'm pretty excited to welcome the return on Spread Kindness Friday, Mr. Jason Sarney, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, Stephen. Happy New Year.
What's up, man?
Glad to be back. So starting hopefully 2023 on a positive note. Of course, thoughts and prayers continue to stay with Damar Hamlin, his family, the Buffalo Bills, and definitely a crazy week.
Did you have a good Christmas, man?
That I did. It was down in South Florida, so always fun being down there. What about yourself?
Pretty good, man. I didn't do any travel. Well, yeah, I guess I didn't do any traveling for the most part, which was fun. I haven't. I like no traveling. I have to admit, since I've traveled so much this year, and I'm a little under the weather, y'all. So if I cough or anything, I'm starting to get a little under the weather. I got cough drops here. Yeah, I definitely appreciate not not traveling. So
you're grounded.
I know, I like it. I'm excited to watch the game from home this weekend. I'm not necessarily excited about watching the game, but I'm excited to watch the game from home. Which is good because I just need to rest, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. But no, Christmas was good. The kids enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. New Year's, we rang in the New Year's here at home. I know you were down in South Florida, right?
For New Year's, we got back. We got back a couple of days prior. I think the 30th. So
Okay.
we had a couple of days after that to recuperate before the kids went back to school. And now they're back. I'm doing the basketball coaching thing again on Thursdays, which is why Saturdays we'll be rolling. So yes,
That's
tomorrow
right.
I'll be rocking and rolling with a kickoff show.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited, which is great because there'll be kickoff for the kickoff show. It'll be Saturday night kickoff.
It would have just felt weird doing a kickoff show on Thursday when there would be no kickoff. So it was
Well,
just,
kind of real quick before we get going and everything. So you and I are both coaching now. So I am now an assistant coach of my son's basketball team. I was kind of, I was during the first couple of practices on the sidelines watching, and then I was like, all right, come on. I started helping out with some drills, and the coach brought me to this past week. He brought me to the side. He's like, can you help me coach? You're pretty good. I was like, yes.
Okay. It's like
okay.
The reluctant okay.
You're twisting my arm, but I'm there. But I was there for every practice and everything. So my son, who's in a 7-8 league,
yep.
Which is weird because he's going to be 9 halfway through the season. But first time playing basketball. It's so cool being a coach of your kid's basketball team, man. It's weird because I remember my dad being the coach of my team when I was a young lad. So man, it's pretty exciting being a basketball coach for your kid's basketball team. I like it.
I like it. It's fun, but the 7-year-old crew, it's a challenge in patience.
How old's your son?
So he's a 7-year-old. So
you're coaching 7-8-year-old, and I'm coaching 7-8-year-old. What in the world?
Listen, I love spending time with my son. Both my sons, I got an 11 and a 7. But this basketball team, no one listens. You gotta get these kids to listen.
Last night we're running because we run zone. We're running zone drills for defense, and I got this one kid, and I'm like, hey, and I don't want to say his name. I don't want to throw him out there, but I'm like, hey, this is your zone. And every time the ball would come up on the other side of the court, he'd run out of his zone to go play defense. And I'm like, kid, stay in your zone. Just this is your area. If you leave this, they're gonna score. So it's so weird. I think we're gonna win one game. I'm pretty sure. That's all.
We're not even keeping score, so to speak.
Okay.
We're just we're playing like 8 quarters, or so to speak. So like each quarter is split in half, so everyone gets equal playing time. They're just running up and down, and it's kind of organized chaos.
It's organized chaos. Well, that's what the coach on the upper level, because the 9-10-year-olds practice after us, and he brought me to this. He's like, just let the kids have fun, just let the kids work, and he's like, that's what it is at this age. He's like, when I coached these kids for the first time where he's at, because he coached his 9 and 10-year-olds, he's coached them since 7-8. He's like, we won one game in the first 2 years. He's like, but you look at us now, we're really good, but it took us a long time to get there, right? And so I'm excited. I'm excited, man. My first game is next Saturday. I'll be on the court on the sidelines. I'm gonna have
suit and tie.
I was like, should I wear a suit and tie? Should I be a little Rick Pitino? Maybe that's not a good. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, no.
Maybe no Rick Pitino.
No Rick Pitino.
That was a bad analogy for I am okay. Never mind. Anyways, all right. Clock Blockers, home of the #1 Miami fan morning show, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. It is Spread Kindness Friday. I want to remind you guys, any donations that come in today, we're sending to Chasing M's Foundation, the Damar Hamlin Foundation. So donate, y'all. Please just donate to the channel. You can donate through Cash App. You can donate through PayPal. It's Spread Kindness Friday. Let's get into everything, man. I kind of don't know where to start because there's so many different avenues. Actually, you know where I will start, because we haven't heard your take yet of the Damar Hamlin situation and obviously the domino effect of it. Were you watching the game on last Monday? Nobody's heard your take yet. Just interested to know what you feel and what you were thinking and everything.
Yeah, it's extremely scary watching it. And then, kudos mainly to the first responders, the medical staff. I mean, Denny Kellington, I believe his name was, on the Buffalo Bills medical staff. I mean, they were talking like, we like to say that football players are heroes. This man is a legitimate hero.
He saved his life. There's no doubt. Like everything I've read, he saved his life.
He saved a human being's life in the most dire and crazy of circumstances. I mean, we say must wins, we say this and that and cliche in football, but this man did his job to perfection. There was no other choice. And he revived Damar. And immediately what I was thinking about, I mean, I'm a parent, so my heart went right to the mother. And, I mean, look, my son slips and nicks a knee. You feel helpless as a parent. You know what I mean? So I can't even fathom what the mother I can't even fathom it. It was a situation that you just hope and pray he gets back to as normal as life as possible. And my take really is just that I guess prayer works. My Lord. I mean,
hey, I don't mean to interrupt, but breaking news, Ian Rappaport said 7 minutes ago, this is amazing. For the first time, Bills safety Damar Hamlin is addressing the team via FaceTime. The breathing tube is out, and he's spending the morning speaking to various teammates on FaceTime, and he's now delivering a message to the entire group, I'm told. So the breathing tube is out, and he's able to communicate and talk with his teammates. That's awesome, man. Because they had no idea. They had no idea if he would ever, we just didn't know.
I mean, you're dealing with someone whose heart he had cardiac arrest and
revived him on the field,
intubated, breathing. Listen, thank God. I mean, thank you for breaking that. And, for him to address, I mean, we're talking 5 days ago, this is still an unbelievable, unprecedented situation. And as far as, I guess, the other aspects of this that are unavoidable, I don't envy the league. I don't envy any decision maker or any verbiage creator who has to put the copy and what's happening out to the public. This is tough stuff. And again, I don't envy them. So
no, not at all. And he's up breathing now, and we hope that his recovery keeps going, and he's able to make a full recovery. Whether he plays football again or not is irrelevant, as long as he's able to interact with his family, his loved ones, and be able to keep doing what he's doing. But let me ask you, Jason, just a couple of things from the outline of everything. So there's a lot of rumors over the last 72 hours about how the NFL would move forward with them playing either resuming or canceling or postponing the Bills-Bengals game from that Monday night, how it would affect Week 18 here. And so last night, a lot of news came down the drain. The first one, and so we kind of heard from the NFL through via third. There was a lot of rumors in the afternoon. In the afternoon, I heard the biggest rumor of all, which was an 8th playoff team, and I have to admit I was pretty stoked about it for no other reason. And it's weird, right? Because I contradict myself from yesterday's show. I was like, yesterday. And I've always felt like this 7 teams is too much in the NFL playoffs. I think 7 teams is too much. I think they should go back to 6 because I think the 7 team, look at the AFC, look at the NFC. They're barely hanging on to 500 to get in. You want the NFL playoffs to be the best of the best. Go back to 6 teams each. But when I heard about the 8th playoff team last night, or the potential for the 8th playoff team last night, I was on board with it because I was like, man, I'm a Dolphins fan, and it gives us another opportunity to kind of creep in the back door. But it was also like, man, the NFL found a way to kind of, make this a little bit more exciting at the end. Good, bad, or indifferent, right? And so Twitter went on fire yesterday and ran away with this 8th playoff team theory or scenario. Ended up not being the case. But the person who broke it was Mike Florio, who works for Pro Football Talk, right? And NBC. And I had made the tweet. I said, Mike Florio has very good inside connections with the league. It wasn't just some random person who tweeted, oh, there's an 8th team. Mike Florio did. And my thought and feeling at that particular moment was, man, the NFL is trying to get a feel for public perception about an 8th playoff team. That's why Florio leaked it, because NFL wanted to see a public reaction about that. All positive, by the way. Everything I saw was they were okay with the 8th playoff team. I saw very little resistance. I saw very little rejection. Now, I'm not hearing from the teams that are in the top 3 spots because all they care about is seeding, right? Especially in the AFC side, and we'll get to that in a second. But nonetheless, there was rumors upon rumors upon rumors over the last 12 hours. We didn't know what was going on. So yesterday evening comes down the pipe. The NFL has decided they're not going to resume or postpone. They're just going to call it a no contest between the Bills and the Bengals game for Monday night, which is fine, by the way. I wanted to say, to me, I have no problem with them saying, we're not going to replay it. It'll be what it is. Well, then the question goes to, well, how do you positively or best affect the seeding, certain playoff games, certain, the AFC North, all this stuff, right? And so some stuff came down the pipe, and I would say 80% I was on board with, 20% I was a little, I don't think this is too fair. But for the most part, the NFL was kind of in a lose-lose situation here. I don't know if lose-lose is the right word. I personally think they did. Is it the scenario I would have wanted? Probably not. But is it a scenario that I can live with as a fan? 100%. So let me just break it down. Canceling the game between the Bills and the Bengals creates potential competitive inequities in certain playoff scenarios. In an effort to mitigate those inequities, NFL clubs will consider tomorrow in a special league meeting a resolution recommended by the commissioner and approved today by the competition committee, consisting of 2 elements. 1, the AFC championship game. Again, excuse me, I'm a little under the weather. The AFC championship game will be played at a neutral site if the participating teams played in an unequal number of games, and both could have been the number 1 seed, and hosted the game had all AFC clubs played a full 17-game regular season. Those circumstances involve Buffalo or Cincinnati qualifying for the game as a road team and are listed below. Scenario 1, Buffalo and Kansas City both win or both tie. A Buffalo versus Kansas City championship game would be played at a neutral site. By the way, I've narrowed down the 3 sites that I think they're going to play at. I just want to throw that out there too, and I'll talk about that in a minute.
I can guess one of them.
We all can. Okay, I've narrowed it down to 3 sites. Scenario 2, Buffalo and Kansas City may both lose, and Baltimore wins. A Buffalo versus Kansas City championship game would be at a neutral site. Scenario 3, Buffalo and Kansas City both lose and Cincinnati wins. A Buffalo or Cincinnati versus Kansas City championship game would be played at a neutral site. Before I get into the Baltimore defeats whatever, okay, I want to say the 3 different options for the neutral site are I think Vegas. Vegas is supposed to host the Pro Bowl. And obviously they're not getting the Pro Bowl because there's no Pro Bowl. They're just getting skills competitions or whatever. And it's Vegas. 100% could see it there. The second option is Indianapolis because Kansas City, as well as Cincinnati, heck, even Buffalo, right, for that matter. It wouldn't be a big travel thing for any one of those two of the three of those teams to go there, right? So I think that would be very interesting to see. And Indianapolis for years has been, that they've had the NFL Combine there. They seem to have a foothold with the league office, and 100% could see Lucas Oil Stadium, as beautiful and nice as it is, facility it is, being the site of the neutral game. And the third option is Hard Rock Stadium. Stephen Ross definitely would, wants to get back in the good graces of the NFL. Maybe he doesn't care, but it's still Miami. It's still, they wouldn't have to worry about, cold weather conditions. In Vegas and Indy, you have inside, so you wouldn't have to worry about cold weather conditions there either. So I think it's Vegas, Indianapolis, Miami are the three sites being considered for the neutral site for the AFC Championship game in any one of those three scenarios. Before I go into anything else, do you agree with any of that? What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I think those are great choices. I think Indy is the perfect choice. You mentioned the combine relationship. It's very equidistant. It's very centrally located. The timing for the fans. I mean, look, I love Vegas. I love a place like, Arizona. It's nice weather and it's indoors. So it's like just good for the fans, but it's not good for the fans of the teams that are going to be involved if you're taking, a big time travel out west. I mean, there are fans from all three of those potential clubs that could fly or maybe take a long road trip to Indy from each of those locations.
There's no other way for them to do it. Like, there was no other way, right?
Again, I don't envy. This was such an unprecedented situation. You can't even put anything up comparatively. The only other thing was obviously the COVID year where they were just going off of, this.
The win percentage thing was in at that point, I think, for the COVID year 2020. They said if there was an odd number of games, they would go. The teams would get in based on winning percentages.
Right. I mean, it was unfortunate. I mean, to kind of lump in the thoughts for all, that was what we thought with potentially an 8th seed. Now it not happening. And
what would you have wanted to see?
You hear about an 8th seed. You don't want that taken away when your team's on the cusp. You really don't want to hear that is like taken away from me. It's like a 9th night of Hanukkah. You're going to get that 9th gift. And all of a sudden your parents say, nah, forget it.
You were when you heard the rumor about the 8th seed, you were like me. You're like, okay, if that's what they want to do. And it's funny because I'm so adamant that the NFL should go back to a 6-team playoff each. I think they should. But I was 100% on board for this season to be like, if you want to throw in an 8th team, go ahead.
This would have been welcomed and accepted on my.
It would have made so many more games on Sunday more competitive because there were all of a sudden teams that were out now all of a sudden would be considered back in.
The funny thing is, I believe that it would have made the Dolphin-Jet game eligible for the Jets to sneak in, maybe, but at least it would have put the
Jets would have been eligible to get into the 8th seed. They would have needed a lot to happen, but
at least that scenario would have put the Dolphins in a control their own destiny winning it.
Dolphins would not have to worry about the Buffalo New England game, which again we'll get to later on in the show. But yes, 100%.
There's almost like a double-edged sword here that without the 8th seed, the Jets mean nothing. But they, of course, are going to try to want to eliminate Miami. But the fact of the matter is, we have to still watch a second game while we're watching the other game. We're going to have one eye on the game, another eye on the bottom line or the score.
I'm thinking about hooking up a second TV in the living room specifically for this Sunday.
It's going to have to happen. I mean, luckily, look, the way that many people, I'm in Pennsylvania. So, to get a game in my home without relying on a direct TV, I with my brother.
Dolphins game is local for all of us.
Beautiful. Thank you. I wanted to confirm that because I was going to say that.
I confirmed that last night.
It's National Fox.
Yeah, it's not. Okay. It's the National Fox game for like I don't know if it's half the country, but you and I live close, and it's the Dolphins Jets game is local for us. I will say, for the people that live in Central Florida, you're still getting effed. They're still showing the Tennessee or
Jacksonville.
not Tennessee. It's not Tennessee Jacksonville. It's
oh yeah, there's Saturday.
Yeah, they're not showing the Dolphins game in Orlando again, local. I don't understand that. It amazes me. It amazes me how Orlando gets screwed out of that national game for the Dolphins, but neither here or there. Yeah. So, all right, let me finish this. So there's more to this. Number 2, if Baltimore defeats Cincinnati in Week 18, it will have defeated Cincinnati divisional opponent twice, but will not be able to host a playoff game because Cincinnati will have a higher winning percentage for a 16-game schedule rather than Baltimore will at a 17-game schedule. If Baltimore defeats Cincinnati and those two clubs are scheduled to play a wild card game against one another, that site for the game would be determined by a coin toss. If Cincinnati wins the Week 18 game, or if Baltimore and Cincinnati are not scheduled to play one another in the wild card game, the game sites would be determined by regular season scheduling procedures. And then they said, as we considered the football schedule, our principles have been to limit disruption across the league and minimize competitive inequities. Goodell said, I recognize that there is no perfect solution. The proposal we are asking the ownership to consider, however, addresses the most significant potential equitable issues created by the difficult but necessary decision not to play the game under these extraordinary circumstances. So what I would have wanted the NFL to do for the Baltimore-Cincinnati game, because of it, is say Bisciotti and the owner of Cincinnati, I don't know who it is, agree that the winner of this game gets the AFC North. Just agree to that. Let the game be for the AFC North, and whoever wins gets the. You guys are already playing each other. Just and concede to that notion. Allow this game to be for the AFC North. Who would have? I don't know if anybody would have been opposed to that. And I feel like the NFL would have been justified in allowing that decision to happen. But the NFL said no. So Baltimore can beat Cincinnati again. They'll have 2 division wins against Cincinnati. But because of the 16-game playoff percentage and the 17-game playoff percentage, Baltimore is going to get screwed out of the AFC North. And I just out of all the teams in this screwed up scenario, Baltimore is going to get the short end of the stick in there. And I don't know how else the NFL could have gone about it rather than saying the winner of Week 18 Ravens Bengals gets the AFC North. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, they're trying to be as fair as possible. I don't know that there's any solution that makes every team involved as happy as they could be. It's impossible to make everybody happy. So I think this is the best that they could do under the circumstances. And another group of people that I don't envy is coaching staff trying to get their teams prepared despite all of these things and all these scenarios and potentials. So it's a loop. We've all been thrown for a loop with this, the league especially, and they're doing their best to take it in stride.
Yeah, I mean, look, here's the reality of the situation. There was going to be somebody that was going to get kind of, and maybe screwed is not the correct term. There was no 100% clear cut. This is the best solution, and everybody's going to be positively affected. But I think the NFL has a history of saying, okay, we're going to do this in this scenario, and we're going to do this in this scenario. And I think they could have piecemealed the perfect solution together, or is close to it. If you want to say that a game's being played, the AFC Championship game is going to be played at a neutral site if these 3 teams play, I don't have a problem with that. I don't. I feel, look, this is the best thing for everybody. I do have a problem with the AFC North deal because I think it's BS that a team could beat your divisional opponent twice and because of a winning percentage flaw, I think that's BS personally. So I do feel bad for the Ravens in that standpoint, because I would be pissed too if we beat the Bills twice and then all of a sudden we were told we can't win the division. Like, I would feel some type of way about that. And I was thinking about that last night. But it's interesting to see here. And then just to reiterate, as far as the Dolphins are concerned, how does this affect the Dolphins? All right. Well, not a lot. The Dolphins, as far as Saturday is concerned, for the final AFC seed, if New England wins, New England's in. New England doesn't need any help. Miami needs Buffalo to beat New England, and Miami needs to win against the Jets, and they're in. If that doesn't happen, Buffalo, Jets win, Pittsburgh wins, Pittsburgh's in. If that doesn't happen, if Buffalo, the Jets, and the Cleveland Browns win, the New England Patriots can still get in. They can backdoor their way in with a loss. They are not 100% out of it with a loss, depending on who wins those games. And they also need Jacksonville to win on Saturday night for that to happen too. And then Jacksonville would get in if they lost to Tennessee on Saturday night. Jacksonville can still get in with a Buffalo, Jets, and Cleveland win. And Jacksonville would get in as the final playoff seed. So New England, Miami, Pittsburgh, and Jacksonville all eligible to get in. New England has the easiest route to get there, and that is New England wins, they're in, they don't need any help. But if New England loses to the Buffalo Bills, which I predict that they will, Miami will then control their own destiny. As long as Miami beats the Jets, which we'll get into it, they'll be in. Otherwise, Pittsburgh, New England, or Jacksonville can backdoor their way in, which is absolutely bananas to me. And then just a real quick, Miami clinches a playoff spot. Can Miami clinch a playoff spot with anything other than a win? The answer is yes, actually. Miami wins, they're in, right? Obviously with the New England loss. Or they can get in with a Miami tie and a New England loss, or a Miami tie and a Pittsburgh loss, or tie.
With the New England loss.
I'm pretty sure that
because if New England wins, they're in.
That's true. You're right.
Yeah,
100%.
But everything is
right.
coupled.
That needs to be fixed. All right.
The thing that screwed the pooch for us was taking away the 8th, because that's what we thought would be just the winning in for the Dolphins. And now with that going, basically, we just did a circle without moving anywhere for the Dolphins. I mean, it's what we knew before the game. We need to win first and foremost, and we need to scoreboard watch. Hopefully the Bills are up, 27-3 at halftime. But something tells me we're going to be watching in the fourth quarter, both two fields.
We're going to be watching 2 football games in the fourth quarter.
Oh, 1,000%. I've already relegated that in my mind. I've already kind of prepared. We will be, to me, it's very Miami Dolphin for us to march down the field against the Jets, have an amazing, maybe walk-off win, and then 14 seconds later, something happens where the Patriots do the same thing. So it sucks. It sucks that we don't control the own destiny.
Well, it does on many different levels. 15 minutes ago, breaking news. Adam Schefter reports Jets quarterback Mike White is now out versus the Dolphins.
So we got Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco will start, and Zach Wilson will back him up. It was reported 2 days ago that Mike White would be the starter, and now all of a sudden he's out. I don't know what happened. It's very interesting. I'm interested to know what happened there, because it looked as if all things indicate Mike White's let's see here. Mike White was in pain after Sunday, told some people he didn't think he could go this week per sources, had a tough day in practice on Wednesday. Flacco took the team reps on Thursday, so Flacco gets one last hurrah. So it sounds like this is Flacco's last game in the NFL, and he gets to start. That doesn't make me feel any good, because Flacco's got a great record against us and does very, very well against us.
I mean, this is a situation where if you're the defensive staff and you can't scheme together a good gameplay for a 37-year-old quarterback on a team that's not going to the playoffs, I don't know what to say. I mean, I don't know what to say.
You don't deserve to get in if you can't beat the Jets this week, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes,
You just don't.
1,000%. But and I don't want to say that the woes of the team were squarely on the defense, because they're not. If I want to pick 3 games where they really should have won, can I blame the defense on those particular areas? Sure. But if Joe Flacco is made to look like Aaron Rodgers, then there's going to be a massive issue, not just with the Dolphins' current coaches on the defensive side of the ball. Are they going to, is Josh Boyer going to find a coordinator job elsewhere? I mean, this is Joe Flacco, 37 years old, on the road in his last hurrah. If you make this man a hero, that's just, pardon my language, I don't know, that's shitting the bed.
That is 100% swear jar, but that is 100% shitting
Put
the
it
bed.
in. I had to do it. And you do it too. You double it up.
But, I wanted now some Miami kid Jay, God forbid it's Glennon. If Glennon gets into this game, we're all screwed.
Tell you what, if it's Flacco versus Glennon, executives at Fox are taking their notes and they're just throwing it up. That's what they're doing.
Like, why? Look, it's Flacco. Flacco is, here's the thing. When I saw that Mike White was playing or going to start 2 days ago, I was pissed because I like Mike White. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's got a lot. I think he's the best quarterback on the Jets roster. Now that it's Flacco, I'm not as nervous. I really am. I'm really not.
I can make you nervous if I read you his stat line against the Dolphins.
Oh no, I don't want you to.
I don't want you to right now,
because I know what his stat lines are against the Dolphins. He kills us all the time, but I know we've beaten them in the past. It's not like he's undefeated against us, but he's usually does play very well against us, right? So
he's 6-2 against us.
He's 6-2 against us, and I know the one was New York last year.
Oh, we beat the pants off of him once last year.
Yep, and that was with
2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago or last year?
We beat him last year in MetLife.
Okay,
I know that because I was at the game and we won.
Sure.
We barely won, but we won. Look, I'm not worried about it. So this is the transition I wanted to get into. So people were asking me yesterday, hey, Steven, what about the Buffalo Bills? Are they going to play their starters? Because the Cincinnati game on Saturday is going to directly affect the Bills game or whatever it is, right? Who's plays on Saturday?
It's that Jaguars-Titans game, and I think Kansas City and the Raiders.
The Kansas City game. I'm sorry, Kansas City. That if Kansas City beats the Raiders, will Buffalo want to play their starters? Because if Kansas City wins, they'll get the 1 seed. There's no, they're getting the 1.
This is a tough one because, I don't want to really jump into the minds of what's going on in Buffalo right now. So I don't know. Do they play a football game and rally knowing that they want to get it? This is a tough conversation with the specifics of the Damar Hamlin situation. So I don't want to be the guy to say they're going to play this way or they're going to play that way or they're going to save it. You know what I mean? I don't know what their mindset is. I have no clue, which makes things a little bit more murky for what the Dolphins need. Theoretically, are you a coaching staff in lieu of what happened to go to your team and say, guys, this game does not mean much to us, of course, if Kansas City does get the win? Do they literally pull everybody back?
I don't. So from everything that I have read, from the reporters, from beat reporters of Buffalo, Buffalo wants a divisional round playoff game at home, and so that they're going to play their starters. Because they at minimum want to get the 2 seed,
and that makes complete sense to me. It almost goes back to the Dolphins not playing certain players last week, because when the injury report came out, it's like, to me, this is an injury report of a team that clinched Like, could one or two of these guys force the issue to play? Xavier and Chubb, Armstead, maybe not. But, when it comes to sitting
By the way, Eric
starters,
Fisher yesterday went on the IR for the
I know
Dolphins. Let
that's
me tell you how pissed off I was at that. Never saw one snap for the Miami Dolphins and goes on the IR, and yeah. And remember, you know what it reminded me of? Aqib Talib.
Aqib Talib.
Yep.
That was a trade.
Corner.
The reason why they
He
did
never
that,
played
I
a snap
believe.
for us. I don't think he played a snap for us.
No, he did not. I think that was a trade that was just purely salary cap dump. And the reason why they needed to include him, marquee player, huge salary, and that's what allowed the Dolphins to give some picks back just to kind of alleviate that salary. But yeah, he didn't play it down for us. And the Fisher thing, maybe they took a flyer on him, hoping that he can maybe play a game or two. Didn't work out. It's just one of those things that you just wonder what the motive was. You just wonder.
I don't know, but I know Eric Fisher got a couple $dollars for signing a contract, and he never saw the field at all, which unbelievable for me as a Dolphins fan. Speaking of unbelievable, money down the drain and somebody not playing, let's talk about Byron Jones in that situation yesterday. So Sam Madison was being interviewed and basically said some people play with injuries, some people don't. And from everything that I read yesterday, there was a lot of coaches. We're going to slowly transition this conversation into the big news, right? There were a lot of coaches that were pretty much saying whatever the hell they wanted yesterday in the interviews because maybe they're not here come Monday. And they were putting it all out on the table. And that was what a couple of beat reporters said, that they were like, wow, they're being very transparent when they haven't been the entire year. And they think it's due to some of these coaches don't think they're going to have a job come Monday. So let's start out with the Byron Jones situation. And then I want to also transition your thought into, hey, the coaching staff might not be here on Monday. So give me Byron and then coaching staff.
The Byron Jones situation to me is very upsetting, disappointing. I'm perplexed by how the whole thing went down. I mean, I think it was like maybe week 4 we saw him running on field, or week 5 was maybe like, it was like, oh, maybe he's going to give it a go soon. And then it almost became what I think Coach Sam Madison was alluding to, is some players play through injuries, others don't. And
that's a wild quote, by the way. That's an absolute, like, you take that quote and put it by itself, and you're like, who said that? The DB's coach?
But not just the DB's coach, a guy who played on the field. Like,
I know, Sam Madison.
Of course, you know that. I mean, of course. Statement. Like, if you're a guy who is a coach who's been a coach your whole life, maybe not played the game, because there are people like that, who may just coach, may not have necessarily been an NFL or a collegiate or a very reputable type of player, so they really can't speak to that. But if you're someone like Madison, who has played hurt, who has had teammates and friends who have played very hurt, it's almost like I feel like that quote was almost like he took offense to that. He's like, you're going to tell me that you're too hurt to play. And I'm not saying this particularly, but what if Sam Madison says, I once played with these 3 fingers taped together because the one in the middle was broken. Read in between the lines, guy.
But if your secondary or DB coach is coming out on a public platform and saying that and throwing you under the bus, what do you think the conversation is in the building in general? Probably about that person.
I don't even know if that's happened yet because of the rules of IR and whatnot. But I'm
talking about behind closed doors. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you think the conversation is with McDaniel and Greer and all them about Byron? They're probably like, this guy, for lack of a better term, this guy, who does this guy think he is?
Pretty much. It's there's nothing to be joked about. There's nothing to really sugarcoat at all. I don't want to literally go out on the limb and say he quit on his team, but that's really what it is looking like Byron Jones did. So when you're looking about your future in football and not the present, when you have a team, 52 other men to really help, where was he all year? He's played his last game for the Dolphins last year. That's 100%. I mean, we will never see him in a Dolphin uniform on the field again. And it's just, to me, it's the character other than the contract.
I hesitate saying something about somebody's character because I know where that's gotten people in the past, because 6 months from now, a year from now, something comes out and we learn more about the situation and we're like, oh, that makes sense. Now I get it. I understand it. And let me tell you, from a Dolphin standpoint, there have been plenty of situations where we blame the player or said that the player has character issues. And then we come to find out, I don't blame them for what they did. I totally get it. So let me say that I get that as a Miami Dolphins fan, we want to blame Byron and be mad at Byron. And I get it. But also understand we've done that in the past to players. And then months later, something comes out about the front office or ownership or whoever or head coach. And we're like, okay, this makes a lot more sense. Now I totally get why this player decided to go this route instead of another route. Byron Jones has been quiet the whole time. He hasn't said anything. He was quiet, right? Look at what Xavier Howard did when he talked a lot, right? Byron was quiet. He shut up. I'm just not going to play. This is how you guys are going to run things. I'm just not going to play. I'm almost not mad at Byron because I feel like there's so much more to this story than meets the eye. And both sides have a side. Byron, I'm sure, has his view on it, and the Dolphins has his view on it. I understand what Sam Madison says. Sam Madison's basically saying, dude, you're under contract. You play for us. Just play. Byron's side's like, why am I going to play for somebody who doesn't give a shit about me? You guys haven't cared about me. Why am I going to put my career on the line and do whatever? No, I'm just going to sit this season out. I'm going to get healthy. I'll come back next year and I'll play for a team who gives a damn about me. I think that's both sides' take on this. What are your thoughts?
I mean, look, if something comes out in a week, a month, a year, I'll revisit. We take it for what it's worth, and then we could, reanalyze. But he restructured a contract. He sent out a tweet when Tyreek Hill was signed saying, restructure my contract just to get burned by Tyreek Hill in practice every day. So at that point, it was almost like he was all systems go, ready to roll. And then all of a sudden he's not. So it's another one of those weird situations. I don't know if the organization is handling this pitch perfectly on their end. I don't. But it's unfortunate when the
whole situation sucks, right? The whole situation is and I'm sure that there's blame to go around on all sides here. I'm sure Byron could have, there are people that might view Byron, just step up, play. You're here, just play. You can help your team, whatever. And then there are some people that are like, no, I'm not mad at him. Dolphin. It's a business, right? And that's the problem. Like Von Joe's in the chat saying that Dolphins tried to trade him. It's a business. If you have a chance to get better, exactly right. To me, I'm not going to use that as whatever. But I'm sure that there's more behind closed doors that he doesn't feel the Dolphins might have done him right in certain other aspects. And I'm sure that that's true, at least to his point of view. I'm sure he really views it that way. So it's whatever. All right, now let's transition over. Dolphins coaches are obviously talking. Rumors came out yesterday that Stephen Ross is furious. He's pissed off. And that if the Dolphins do not make the playoffs, everybody's gone. What are your thoughts about this?
I did a lot of tweeting emotionally Sunday. I'll preface the conversation. I don't want to necessarily revisit because I was pissed off. Do I think that if they lose, every single person needs to be fired? Maybe not every single person. Because look, we're talking about jobs and human beings. I know it's easy to say fire them, get rid of them, but these are people with families and bills.
No, but this is a business, and
I know, I get that.
I get that. Show. This is what we talk about.
So anything I say with jobs and such, I say with a rather sensitivity, but I'm going to try to be objective here. I think that win, lose, or draw on Sunday, playoffs or no playoffs, the defensive side of the ball is
Boyer's gone.
Oh, God.
Boyer's gone. Boyer's gone. The only way Boyer does not go is if the Dolphins make the AFC Championship game.
The only way
that happening are slim to none.
If the rebirth of the 1972 Dolphins defense plays for 4 more games from now throughout the rest, then Josh Boyer will retain his job. But that's not happening. And I don't even think that might save him as well, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
But what I want to see is I need to see exactly what happens on the sidelines. I need to see, hey, it would be nice to win a challenge. It would be nice to go into the end of listen, I like McDaniel. I really, truly do. Do I enjoy his press conferences? Absolutely. Do I think he rocks a heck of a sneaker game? Absolutely. Do I love everything about the person? Yes. I need to see the proof in the pudding. I would love to see if there is a situation where the defense is not handling their business. Give me a situation almost like it was, I believe it was Detroit, where it was a visual situation, seeing McDaniel look at the sideline and say, fix it. And that was a big step up. And actually, they had a terrific third quarter and second half against Detroit. He's got to be a coach. And sometimes being a coach isn't being Mr. Nice Guy. It's not getting the sound bites. It's doing anything you need to freaking do to get a W. So McDaniel, I don't want to give a full pass to, because you finish a season 0-5 or 1-5, what have you. It ain't good. But I would like to see him be able to select or be in the process of choosing a new defensive head man, because that was not his choice. It would have been no one's choice. Boyer was staying no matter what.
Well, let me tell you, I said this at the beginning of the year. I said if McDaniel does get a second year, Boyer will be gone after 1 year. I said that at the beginning of the year. And I said and unless the Dolphins defense was absolutely outrageous and amazing, top 10, Boyer was going to lose his job unless they were top 10, because McDaniel would want to bring in his own person and his own defensive coaching staff. I said the defensive coaching staff was forced upon McDaniel. So if you want to, and so McDaniel has a right to walk into a GM and ownership and say, look what I had to work with. You guys told me that the defense was going to be amazing. I can clearly tell you that we've lost multiple games because of the defense. I understand that I've had my shortcomings, and I understand that I've had my mistakes, and I'll admit to those. But I'm a first-year head coach, and I'm getting better. And look what I've done with this team, and the confidence level, and blah 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 blah. I don't think he'll have much to say over a 5-game losing streak, but neither here or there. But it is interesting that the reports were starting to pile out yesterday that Stephen Ross, if the Dolphins don't win, or if they don't get into the playoffs, everybody's job is on the line. My thought to this, and so after this report came out, a few hours later, another report came out about Jim Harbaugh and the University of Michigan football team, and that the NCAA was going to violate them on multiple rule violations. Okay. Level 1 allegation is Harbaugh misled NCAA investigators when confronted with questions about level 2 allegations. So now Harbaugh and University of Michigan are in a conundrum, for lack of a better word, or maybe the perfect word, because I said the moment this came out, I turned to my wife and I said, sounds very convenient. This is coming out all around this time. Guess you could just say, you know what? Screw this. I'm just going to go to the NFL and leave Michigan hanging. Harbaugh already has a relationship with Stephen Ross. They've already talked about it because the Dolphins lost draft picks or whatever with this, right? So we know that they have had a conversation. So who's to say that there isn't something in place with Stephen Ross that says, if we don't make the playoffs, I'm going to fire everybody and you're going to come to the NFL? Are we good with that? You're good? Okay. And this conversation happened months ago. I am fully convinced that if the Dolphins do not make the playoffs, everybody's getting fired. I'm convinced that's going to happen. Convinced. And I'm convinced it'll be Jim Harbaugh's job. Do I think it should happen? No, I don't. I think McDaniel should get another year, if not two. Allow your own coaching staff. This is the bed we made in. Let him do it. Let him give him the real shot and the real opportunity. But if you do decide to clean house, you better clean everything. GM and all, Greer too. And let Harbaugh have full control over everything. And I'm not saying that's the right choice, by the way. I'm not saying it's the wrong one. I'm just not saying I don't know if it's the right one. It's one that I'd be like, all right, well, this is the move the Dolphins chose to give. But I do know that Stephen Ross is pissed, as are all the fans. I do know that Stephen Ross, all he wants to do is win a Super Bowl. And if he believes that Harbaugh is going to give him the best shot to get back to get to a Super Bowl, he's going to pull the trigger. He's done with this BS. He's done with the nonsense. He wants to win a Super Bowl. All the BS, as much as I can't stand Ross, and I can't stand him, trust me, because every decision he's made has been the wrong one. At minimum, he's tried to do the right. He's tried to do everything. I'm not saying the right thing. He's tried to do everything to win a Super Bowl. They've all been the wrong thing. They've all been the wrong decisions, but he has tried. So what are your thoughts? I'm not saying about should he get fired. Do you expect him, if they lose, to get fired?
I expect firings, but I don't know exactly how many. You know, here's the situation. If people that an individual hires or drafts, and those people continue to not own up to their job titles and their draft positions, it's the person who's making the selections and the hires that ultimately the shoe has to drop.
Okay.
That's me saying Chris Greer is where the focus should be on.
Okay.
Because I have been a big fan of what he's done to prepare the organization by bringing in picks. Look, the trades, the Tunsil trade, you could even say that the trade with the Niners, still getting Waddle, getting more picks.
I'm not saying Greer's a horrible GM. I'm not saying that.
Right. But I'm not. See, I don't want to use those. I don't want to say he's horrible. I don't want to say he's amazing. He's a master. You know,
he's done some really amazing things. He's also really
right.
whiffed on some things that you're like, you whiffed on that? Are you kidding me?
The whiffs, it's almost like, let me try to compare two things in the same topic, but they're very different. The Dolphins defense, if you look overall, the bend not break, the whole thing, it's been okay at times, but when the times that they really needed to make a play, they couldn't do it on third. So when you look at what Chris Greer has done, the times when he's really, really needed to make the right choice, more often than not, those times didn't happen. When you have 20 draft picks in 2 years, or when you have 12 draft picks in 1 year, and at the 2.5, 3 year point from that draft, you could say that there's one legitimate starter.
That's not good.
That's
not
horrible.
Good.
I mean, look, when you have a 7-person draft class where one person hits, that's not good. But when you have 3 first-round draft picks and the only move that you made was trading backwards with the Packers just to select Noah Igbenogany, there could have been a lot more movement. You could have traded 2 of those.
Boy, y'all better stop with the Noah slander. You know, Noah's great. Noah's amazing. I love Noah Igbenogany.
When I was going into that draft doing what we all love to do, mock draft, I was saying to myself, there's 3 picks inside the top 20. You want a quarterback, which is one of them. Take the other 2 picks, move on up to the top 10, and get an absolute generational player on defense. You know, give me 2 studs instead of 1 quarterback and 2 projects, you know? And with all those other picks, I really wanted him to kind of play that board like he was a bully, you know? Like, all right, you know what? Opportunity for me to get this guy. I'm going to trade 2/4, this first, and next year's 5th, just so I want to get that guy. Up, you know what? Time to recoup picks. I'm going to take my second round pick. I'm going to move back he could have done whatever he wanted. But I guess he made his mind up on players and projects with input of whomever, 2020. And the draft was a D. It was a D. If you look at it now,
I mean, you're not wrong. I
12 picks.
I get it. The point here everything you said is factual. Okay, those are all facts. It is also a fact that Stephen Ross doesn't have much time left on this earth, and Stephen Ross, based on even the implications of him trying to cheat, it is known that he wants a Super Bowl. That is why he tried to cheat, because he wants to win a Super Bowl. And if you bring out the offseason that we had this past season and the hype that this team had, and you bring in a Tyreek Hill, and you remember 8-3, we're sitting pretty, right? You know, things are looking up. And then to have the monumental collapse that this franchise had, I'm telling you right now, Stephen Ross will make an emotional decision. He will. It will not be a thoughtful one. It'll be an emotional one.
I'll tell you this much, though. If he does, and I'm not necessarily saying I could blame him for, like, if they lose, if they win and
I told you, Jason, I said this the day Mike McDaniel was hired, Jason. I said, if they don't make the playoffs, he's not going to get a second year. I said this to y'all. Y'all didn't want to hear me on the day he was hired when I said this.
But
he won't get a second year if they don't make the playoffs.
If there's got to be,
I told you all this,
and I'm not rooting for it. I'm rooting for the Dolphins to win.
Me neither.
For them to get in, and then you know what? You'll live to fight another day. Let's just call
the Dolphins have made the playoffs twice in the last 20 years, Jason. Twice. I was at the last one in 2016. I want to see another Miami Dolphins playoff. I do. I want to see it. I want to see it.
5 months ago, I said to myself, for me to say that this season was a success or will be a success is if they win a playoff game. We're still hanging that chance by a thread right now. So until that door,
in order to win a playoff game, you have to get into the playoffs.
But they are still alive for that. See, if they were out, now we can call the failure. And if they do lose, I'm the first one to say that this was a massive failure, especially
in my opinion. Making the playoffs was never the goal. It was winning a playoff
game. Right. I don't want to just make the playoffs, especially.
And so, as far as I'm concerned, if they don't win a playoff game, I still think
it's failure.
I still think everything's on the table for Stephen Ross. And here's the reality of the situation. Now with this pending NCAA rules infraction that seems very severe, by the way, you lied to NCAA investigators about an infraction that you already committed. They could say you're not eligible for the next 1 to 2 years for. Everybody's like, oh, Michigan is in this run to be national champions, right? They're in the recruiting classes, everything. And we know the NCAA will very quickly say, you're on probation for the next 2 years. You cannot compete for a national championship. You think Jim Harbaugh is going to stay in Michigan for that?
I don't even know. But I don't even know if Miami's. I don't even know if that's his number one choice. I mean, there was rumors that Denver might be involved in him, but
so let's get something straight. Everybody's going to go after him.
Well, obviously. But what I want to say,
and Sean Payton allegedly, shout out to Cap for Life, by the way, $20 donation. That's the first donation today. Guys, I want to remind you, Spread Kindness Friday. Every donation that we get today, we are sending to the Chasing M's Foundation, which is Damar Hamlin's nonprofit organization to help he does toy drives, backpack drives, all this stuff. I know he had the GoFundMe, but his dad or a family member set up his foundation set up a new website to be able to take in donations over this last few days. And so we want to we want to send money towards that. So anything that you donate today, we're sending towards the Chasing M's Foundation for Damar Hamlin. So
thank you, Cap for life, Bob. Before I forget, if there is a situation where the Dolphins, I don't want to say it, I don't want to think it, but they fire and clean house, there has to be literally a plug and play scenario that is on paper right now. I mean, I don't want to have everyone go crazy and say tampering this, tampering that. A contingency plan internally should be drafted because you can't have a search. My point is, if
McDaniel goes, they already know who's coming in. I promise you on that.
And let me full disclaimer, Steven, if you could hit the sound, I am not hoping for this. I'm not endorsing a one and done fired situation. I'm saying if they lose and if we're here again, I don't want a search. I want a solution, meaning that there's no interview set up for multiple people, that it is literally, here's the key, there's the lock, turn it.
Cap for Life says, Stephen Ross, why the hell would I want to bring back a front office that just suffered the worst defeat possibly in NFL history with no cap, no capital? If I were him, I would cut my losses and microwave this bitch right now.
The reason why they can't do that is because you're giving the new microwave no electricity. You know, you're bringing in.
I don't like this analogy people. You guys are going.
You're asking someone to fix someone else's mess with zero capital, so it's very, very, very difficult.
All right, Jason. So here's something we have to realize.
It's a very, very crappy situation.
It is the worst possible. So if you were thinking of situations. What's the worst possible situation could happen to the Miami Dolphins this year? This is it. We lost a first-round draft pick because our owner was trying to cheat. We lost two. We lost two first-round. Thank you for clarifying that. We lost two first-round draft picks because our owner was trying to cheat to get us to win a Super Bowl. Good, bad, or indifferent, whether you love him or hate him for it, whatever it is. So you don't get a first-round draft pick. So if you do bad, it's not like you're getting a good draft pick out of it.
The other one was traded.
Yep. The other one's traded because you were trying to bluster up your defense for a run this year. By the way, he's yielded and resulted in not much to about not much. And then you take the other stuff of everything and you say, well, you know, the worst case scenario is we are exactly what we always are. We're mediocre. We don't make the playoffs or we just barely get in and we lose, whatever it is. We are in the worst situation for our franchise because we know that if they don't make the playoffs or at minimum don't win a playoff game, there's a chance that Stephen Ross says, F this, I'm blowing it up. And then if that's the case, you have to put in the back of your mind, we could get in trouble again. Because Stephen Ross already knows the guy that he wants. So any whatchamacallit, any interview is going to be a sham interview. The Rooney Rule, all this stuff, right? Because he already knows the guy he wants. He's already had it. So who's to say that the NFL doesn't go back and say, you already had this set in place. We're going to fine you again. We're going to take more stuff from you because you I'm telling you right now, the Dolphins are in for a world of hurt. I'm telling you everything that's on the table. I'm not trying to sit here and be negative. I'm not trying to sit here and say doom and gloom. We got a chance to make the playoffs on Sunday. That is the best scenario that can happen for the Dolphins. The best scenario that can happen for the Dolphins is that they win a playoff game. Because if they win in the playoff game, they will save themselves from themselves. Because then Stephen Ross, at that point, if they win a playoff game, can't really justify firing anybody except Josh Boyer and Jason Sanders.
I'll piggyback off that. Because if they could, because again, I'm going to go back. I'm wearing my one of my favorite sweatshirts, the Fish Tank.
And Tua.
One of my favorite episodes of the Fish Tank was the Jason Taylor episode. And if you want to go back to the first Jason Taylor episode, I believe there were two. It was the Change the Narrative episode. Seth and OJ do a great job of really creating a story behind each show. And if you want to change the narrative, if you win this game and you make the playoffs, and then you want to think of the narrative to take, you could say, and we can, as Dolphin fans, say they made the playoffs despite the trials and tribulations, despite injuries to Byron Jones, to Nick Needham, to Brandon Jones, at times Xavier Howard, losing Emmanuel Agba. So you can make a case for that, but you still need to fire Josh Boyer.
Boyer's got to go.
And Danny Crossman. And the special teams this day and age should not cause massive headaches. It should really be a wash.
By the way, Tyreek Hill better be returning punts this weekend too and kickoffs. Just want to throw that out there.
I would love it.
You remember that conversation we had at the beginning of the year? I do. I said Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill should be returning punts. Nobody listened to me. Nobody liked it. You want to win this Sunday? This is a playoff game on Sunday.
All the stops.
Everything's on the table.
Tell you the truth, you know what I would love to do on a kickoff? Throw a trick play in there. Throw a lateral. Just do something. Do something to knock them in the mouth in a punch that they have not expected. And Danny Crossman is another one. Just to get back to my special teams point, with all the rule changes and the lack of special teams returns and touchdowns, special teams should not be a detriment to really any team. But if it is a detriment, the return game, that's a massive problem, because rules are basically set up for teams to not be able to hurt teams on returns. It really, truly is, especially kickoff returns. So when you see what the special teams coverage unit has been, there's a problem there too.
Look, I'm going through social media and just kind of looking at everything. I think that's the Miami Dolphins. There is so many. There are so many different scenarios that can happen based on Sunday's outcome, and they will dictate the future of this franchise based on this Sunday's game. I don't think we realize how important this Sunday's game is for the future of this franchise.
I have a question for you, and I'll open it up to anybody who wants to say a comment, because it's almost a question that I'd love to have answered in a weird, sick way. If the Dolphins win 30-0, if the Dolphins destroy the Jets, absolutely wipe the floor with them, they take care of their business, but the Patriots win, where do you stand? And we're talking about domination.
Same place.
Okay. Okay.
Don't care that we beat the Jets. The Jets are a bad football team to begin with, in my opinion.
But if we're looking at the one-game season, if Pete's take, I think that this is what I'm
we don't
about.
make the playoffs, whether it's because we win and the Patriots win, whether it's because we lose and the Buffalo Bills, I don't care. Whatever it is, if we do not make the playoffs for whatever reason, I am okay with whatever Stephen Ross tries to do. But I will tell you that they will come at a price. It will come at a price. What that price is, I don't know. But it's going to cost us something. Whether that's there's already a prior agreement in place between somebody like Jim Harbaugh or Sean Payton and Stephen Ross. Whether it's and the NFL getting a hold of that, somebody said there's no way to prove that. It's not about proving whatever. The accusation just has to be made, and an investigation needs to be done. They can say we can't prove. The NFL can do whatever the hell they want to do. They can say, well, we'll investigate, and then after their investigation is, well, there were conversations. We can't prove anything, but there were conversations.
See, the thing is that I want to say this, this is good timing. Someone just DU Dolphins suck, whatever, on the chat. Sean Payton's not going to the Dolphins. The reason why
Dolphins would have to give up a first-round draft pick.
They don't have it. They just don't have.
I mean, they could. They could mortgage the future for Sean, but Sean wants to have a future in order to come down here. And right now, Sean, I'm telling you. So, in my opinion, there are two people that help this franchise move forward. A is already in the building, and Mike McDaniel, right? Mm-hmm. You let that play out. And B is Jim Harbaugh. And I'm not saying Harbaugh is the correct answer. I'm just saying it is a answer. It is one of the doors that you can walk through. If you decide to walk through door number 2 with Jim Harbaugh, you have to realize everybody's gone. Everybody.
Well, of course. I mean,
And Harbaugh is going to have a
to
blank
staff the whole
canvas to do whatever the hell he wants to do. And you probably don't see the playoff. You probably don't see a contender for another 2 years, in my opinion, with Harbaugh. Unless Tom Brady comes with him.
These are speculations that worry me. It really does, because I don't necessarily want to be there. I want to be in the progression that this team, because they signed 18 free agents in the offseason. 18, including some of those undrafteds. I mean, they to blow up, to be talking about this potential right now is sad in and of itself. But, you know, a lot of players, Steven, are playing.
Ivy Fan Talk Show says then we go cry in the corner of a dark room. We've been doing that as a fan for 30 years, bro.
I do that because it's a Thursday, please.
And Party Keg is right. 69 is right. You can't trust Stephen Ross to make the right decision. That I get. I agree with that statement. I don't trust Stephen Ross. Because here's and this is what's maddening as a Miami Dolphins fan. What's upsetting? You look at the Miami Dolphins and you say, okay, you stick with Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel, let's play devil's advocate here for a second, Jason. You ready? Mike McDaniel, as a genius as he's being made out to be, or the hype of, oh, he's this young phenom. Look at, Cliff Kingsbury. Look at, Kyle Shanahan. Look at Sean McVay. Mike McDaniel's that, look at Zach Taylor. Mike McDaniel's that next coach, right? That next grooming of somebody young, upcoming, hip, understands football at a more, he's a smart guy. He's got this, right? Listen to me on this, okay? So I think when we hired McDaniel day one, I said I like McDaniel because of the potential for what he can be. I don't know if he's quite there yet. I said at the beginning of the year, he's gonna make mistakes. He's going to make rookie head coach mistakes that will cost us some games this year. Guaranteed it will happen, because all rookie head coaches cost their team some games by decisions that they make. Time management, play calling, personnel packaging. It's just going to happen. But I'm not saying he's the bad coach, and I'm not saying he's not the answer to our solution. Just understand he's going to be to blame for some of these losses this year. Okay, comes to fruition. It happens, right? Mike McDaniel also has an out, right? He's going to be covered on this all around. How? Well, A, he was forced a defensive coaching staff on him. He didn't get a chance to say what defensive coaching staff he had. Okay? B, he was kind of forced upon the quarterback in the situation. And everybody's going to say, well, he picked the quarterback. That is true to a certain extent. He was probably told in the interview process, because it was said in the interview process about Greer and Ross that whoever comes in will have their own choice to either keep Tua or help Tua. And I guarantee you every conversation was, what would you do? Oh, I'll keep Tua. Okay, your name's going on this side of the list. Oh, I would get rid of Tua. Well, your name's going over here, and we're probably not going to pick you. So you're right in the fact that he chose that, but it was more of he had no other choice. If he wanted the job, he would have to choose that. And I think he knew that. Right? Because the Dolphins aren't smart enough to outsmart themselves. So he's a smart guy. So Mike McDaniel knew this. So Mike McDaniel takes over the coaching reins, and he's kind of forced the defensive coaching staff, and he's forced a quarterback onto himself. But I'm smart enough that if I make some trade, if I get my GM to make some crazy trades to get certain personnel here, I know that we can win some football games. I know that we can do that. So he does that. Dolphins start out 8-3. Their quarterback is an MVP candidate. Their wide receivers are breaking tons and tons of records. They're having, essentially they have the offense that they can move forward, right? That they have an offense that can compete with the rest of the NFL, right? So now you have this situation where all of a sudden now you're on a 5-game losing streak at the end of the year and everything's on the line in this last game. Well, no matter what, I promise you one day Mike McDaniel will be a great head coach. Whether it'll be here in Miami or somewhere else, he'll be a great head coach somewhere eventually. Is Miami going to allow him the breathing room to say, okay, we understand what happened this year, injuries, first-time head coaching mistakes, quarterback. We get that. We'll let you make the change. My personal opinion is that is the best solution for this franchise. It's the one that I trust the most. Because in my opinion, I would love to see a veteran quarterback, a.k.a. Aaron Rodgers, a.k.a. Tom Brady. I understand the Aaron Rodgers and the draft picks and what we'd have to give up. I understand all that. I get that. I'm just telling you what I would like. Those are the two I would like. Because I think they give this franchise a chance. Brady honestly does, if you think about it, because Brady is still a top 5 passing quarterback in the NFL, right? He's still throwing the rock. He can lead a team. He can help bring in free agents at veteran minimums, right? He can recruit for you. He can do all this stuff. In my opinion, Brady gives you the best chance because then you don't have to trade. You don't have to give up anything. You can manipulate the salary cap in a better way, and you can still prepare for the future and a life without Brady, a.k.a. let's just wait till we can get another year or two of first-round draft picks. We have these guys, and Tyreek and Jalen and Emmanuel Ogbah, as well as Jalen Phillips, as well as Christian Wilkins. We got all these guys that are first, second, and third-round draft pick capability if you need to trade anybody down the road. So we have draft picks stocked up in players. Brady, in my opinion, gives you the best chance at a successful future. Does he give you the best chance at a Super Bowl? I don't know. My hope is yes, because you'll make a Super Bowl run in the next 1 to 2 years. In my opinion, Tua, no matter what McDaniel stays or Harbaugh comes in, Tua's not the answer. And there's no quarterback in the draft that I love. And even if you do, you still have to deal with a rookie quarterback then, and you got to start this process all over again. You go out and get a veteran quarterback. You can allow him to come in with the team that is right now, how it is, the offensive side anyway. You bluster up the defense, you bring in your own defensive coordinator, and you make a run at this thing over the next 2 years. And in the meantime, you find a quarterback that you love in the draft over the next 2 years. You draft them, you let them sit behind Brady, and then you watch it grow. And then you get another 10, 15 years out of that quarterback. That would be dream scenario for me. Now, I'm expecting the Dolphins to do something that they've never done. And they've never shown even a remote ounce of doing correctly. The odds of that happening are slim to none. Do I like Brady? No, I can't stand the man. Do I think he gives this franchise the best, option of being successful moving forward? I do. Because if you go out and get Aaron Rodgers, you have to trade and sign him to a stupid amount of money. Derek Carr, you'd have to trade for. And everybody else is just a flip, and everybody else, for the most part, just a flip of the coin. Derek Carr, by the way, is not even that great. He just had a good year. His numbers were the same as Tua's this year. And I don't want to get on Lamar because the reason we're getting rid of Tua for the most part is he can't stay healthy. You want Lamar Jackson to come in who can't stay healthy either? I get there's no, and that's the problem here. I'm giving you all these different solutions. I'm giving you all these different scenarios. All of them suck. The best one we can hope for as Dolphins fans are win this Sunday, get into the playoffs, let Tua come in, and let Tua get us on a major playoff run. That is the best scenario for the future of this franchise. Because without it, Tua's gone, Boyer's gone, Sanders gone, potentially maybe the head coach and the GM, depending on what the future is unclear if that does not happen by any stretch of the imagination. It's just unclear. So what we all should hope for as Dolphin fans are Tua comes back in a playoff game, leads us to a victory, and makes a big playoff run to justify him staying here. And then we can be like, all right, we'll give it another year. We'll see how it goes. I'm willing to go one more year with this status quo, because otherwise I don't know what to tell you. I mean, any scenario I just laid out before you, who knows? And here's the effed up part about Jason about all of it. All those scenarios I laid out, not one of them necessarily is the right one. They all could be losing scenarios. They all could be mediocre scenarios. It's not like, hey, out of all these options, one of them will guarantee you a Super Bowl victory. Nope, not one of them. They could all suck. And again, the culprit behind all of this is Stephen Ross. So do I trust Stephen Ross to do the right thing? No, I do not. But as a Dolphins fan, I'm going to stick with whatever he decides to do. And I'm telling you, if it comes out that the Dolphins lose and don't make the playoffs, everything's on the table, ladies and gentlemen, everything. And if you think that's wrong, I don't know what to tell you. Anything you want to elaborate on anything I said there, Jason? I know
you make a lot of good points, and like I'm worried to piggyback off of any of them in speculation until the game. You know what I mean? Like, again, like if I'm watching this game and finally we're seeing, look, I think there were a combined 4 quarters of just perfect football this year. I mean, I think portions of the Cleveland game, first half of the Houston Texan game, they were just clicking. But other than that, there really has not been balance between the 3 phases of football. And if we can see that, that's what I want to see. I want to see a good game balance. I want to see maybe an easy win. That's my first step in this whole evaluation process. And then obviously you got to look at the scoreboard. And if they could sneak into the playoffs, I'm just going to take it at that week-to-week potential. Having said that, anything else than that scenario happens on Sunday, other than my head exploding, I'll be able to give my opinions on what you laid out.
Bills fans are on social media saying the Bills are, because they talked to Damar Hamlin, they're about to drop 70 points on the Patriots. They're going to kill the Patriots this weekend. Please let that be true. Please let that be true.
I mean, this is one of those situations I'm
telling y'all right now, the best scenario for the Miami Dolphins is they get into the playoffs and have a chance at it.
Yeah.
Because that's what we want. We want the Dolphins to win. We want the Dolphins to get into the playoffs. We want to see a playoff game. Because at that point, okay, we've made that next step. Now let's win a playoff game. And if it's with Tua, let that train keep moving.
If this team does go to the playoffs, Tua is cleared. Tua comes in. Tua plays phenomenal. That, to me,
is the best scenario for the Dolphins.
Not only that, and it's that, and it's all right. Maybe
some people will say it's the worst scenario for the Dolphins because it justifies them to keep them another year. It's the best scenario for the Dolphins because all the other scenarios suck. It's not that they suck. They all come with their own risk. They all come with their own mitigated risk, right? You go out and get Lamar, you got to trade for him and sign him up to a ridiculous contract and hope that he stays healthy. That's not a good one. You ask for Brady, you don't have to trade for him. He already lives here in Miami. You can probably get him at a discounted rate, but you got to hope that he can, he'll be 46, 47 years old. You want a 47-year-old to keep doing? Now, he has. There's no reason to think he's just going to wake up one day and stop, but eventually that's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. One day he's going to wake up and he's not going to be able to play like Tom Brady. Okay? It's going to happen.
It will happen.
I don't know when, but it will happen one day. Aaron Rodgers, same thing. You're going to have to give up draft picks. You're going to have to trade for him. And then everybody else is got their own pros and cons, right? Derek Carr, he's not that great. Kirk Cousins, They're all solutions. They're all potential solutions, but they all come with their own pros and cons. Draft picks, money, not that great. Whatever. Tua, you've already made that bed, right? Just you want Tua to be successful as Dolphin fans. And by the way, I
Because
know
we
what
want any quarterback to be successful.
Yeah, we do. And I get what we're saying, right? I get what we're saying here. Here, let me play. I'm gonna open up the panel here in a minute. I'm gonna open up the panel for some of you all to come on. Here's another problem to this, Jason. Here, real quick. The other problem to this, Jason, is if let's play Skylar Thompson card for a second. If Skylar comes in, drops 30 points, like you said, right? Goes crazy. And Tua doesn't come back next week, and Skylar starts, and then Skylar has a great game next week. Okay? Now we got to tie our bed next year to Skylar. Good, bad, or indifferent, right? Skylar had 2 great games, brought us to a playoff, made us a playoff victory. Skylar Thompson all of a sudden now becomes the guy next year. To me, that's a scenario I don't want to play out. You thought the division was real. Now, imagine next year, because Tua would still be on the thing. And it's not like you went on got Aaron Rodgers or Lamar Jackson or somebody that you can justify saying, all right, Tua, you're out of here. See you later.
You have a quarterback.
Kyler stays, Tua's staying.
Hey.
And you're still
well, don't bet the mortgage. Don't bet the mortgage on Skylar Thompson.
The dream scenario as Dolphin fans. Dolphins win on Sunday. Skylar does okay. Okay. Tua comes in, comes back, leads us to a playoff victory. Yes, I'm hoping on for a dream. Yes, I know it's ridiculously far-fetched. I get all that. I understand that. I'm a Dolphins fan. I know how stupid I sound right now. I sound stupid. I hope somebody clips that and plays that as a meme. I sound stupid. Hope that becomes a meme. Anyways, I'm just telling you. I understand how I sound. All right, Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. Jason's going to get out of here around the top of the hour. I'm going to stay just a little bit longer, but I'm going to open up the panel for about 35, 45 minutes, maybe an hour tops. But I'm going to open up the panel. Only $21 donated today. Guys, donations to the channel are greatly appreciated. But today's donations we are sending towards the Chasing M's Foundation for Damar Hamlin. So please donate to the channel. It helps the channel grow. Or in this particular case, we're going to a great cause. So please donate. It's a big deal. All right, I'm going to drop the link. And make sure you hit the like button. Only 45 likes, over 50 of y'all watching.
Hit that like button.
Hit the like button. And Jason, you're going to be on tomorrow, right?
Yes, probably like 4 o'clock.
All right, so Saturday night kickoff for you.
Yes, sir. I'll tell you, I never thought it would get to 8-8 in a 1-game season. I really, truly didn't. But still alive. Still alive.
It'll be very interesting to see nonetheless. All right. All right, here we go.
Panel time. Bring on in.
Good morning, Pete.
Good morning, fellas. Jason, what's up? Steven, how's everybody doing out there? The chat soldiers in the chat going at it too.
Hello, Pete. How are you, Pete?
I'm so excited, guys. I like the season to me just started, right? I want to let y'all know, to me, everything that happened from week 17 and below, it doesn't even matter no more. It really doesn't. Like a memory card that got erased. That's what happened. That's what happened in my brain. Nothing matters no more. All we have is one game. All we have is a rookie quarterback with a lot of promise. And I mean a lot of promise. And if this guy shows up Sunday the way that I'm thinking, Steven, get ready for your first 40 burger, buddy.
Oh,
we win. We're in.
It'll be my second.
I don't think. I'm just saying. I feel it's going to be hard to beat the Miami Dolphins in the playoffs that is led by a veteran group of guys trying to go down other teams' throats with a rookie quarterback. It's going to be the veterans carrying this rookie, and the veterans like Tyreek Hill. Like all of our veterans out here that are paid, they're going to love that feeling because you already heard it in Skylar Thompson's voice. He was in the locker room. The veterans went up to Skylar, told them their purpose of why they're playing, told them what this game means to them. Like these are their guys going to Skylar, letting them know it is up to you to finish this off and get us to the promised land. And I got to be honest, Steven, what Frank Smith said yesterday in his interview, our offensive coordinator, I believe
you're going to have to pay to talk today. Pete, Level 2 Noob said you're going to have to pay to talk today, buddy. He said it's not taking that nonsense. Not taking that nonsense. He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it.
We didn't scare Pete away, did we?
Well, Pete got kicked off for 10 minutes. It's up to Pete if he wants to come back sooner rather than later. Let's raise some money for the channel today, guys. It's Spread Kindness Friday.
Level 2 Noob being
Level 2 Noob's like
the auditor here. I like that. The security guard auditor.
Level 2 Noob, you're a legend.
Well, I gotta say, I mean, to piggyback off of what Pete was saying, I mean, look, I don't know if I'm as confident as he is in Skylar, because we've seen a little bit in the regular season. He ain't in Kansas State anymore.
Hold on. Big Pop says, Steven, if Skylar is significant part of the win, he deserves a playoff start, if nothing else. I don't mean to interrupt you. And he goes, Marcus says, the problem with Miami is Stephen Ross modeling what he shouldn't and not when he should. Miami is a good team with a bad fortune this year, injury-wise. Von Joe says, make him pay double. I can't take it. So Von Joe took Pete out for another 10 minutes. So, Pete, if you're going to come back, you got to pay 40 to come back, Pete. Got to pay 40 to come back, Pete. They're saying you got to pay up today. Let's raise some money for a good cause, man.
I mean, unfortunately for Skylar Thompson, this game, I mean, look, when you're a 7th round drafted quarterback and you have a couple of quarters and games under your belt that did not look good like Skylar, I don't want to say this is his like last opportunity, but this could give him longevity in the NFL, or this can make him another quarterback drafted in the 7th round that just didn't pan out and maybe is not sticking around.
I'm just used to saying the channel, but all the donations that are raised are going towards Chasing M's foundation, which is Damar Hamlin's foundation.
So I don't know. Skylar has an opportunity to play for a lot more. I mean, look, selfishly, he has a chance to really kind of play for, I guess, the lifeblood of his career. Because if he does go in, take care of business in a game like this, then, hey, that's probably the kind of quarterback you want to keep around, develop, or maybe even see what his worth may be eventually on the open market. But, yeah, this is a game where Skylar Thompson has to gut check and say this is the biggest game of his football life for him. And then, as Pete mentioned, those veterans are going to have to make life as easy as possible for him and the coaching staff.
All right, let me bring in another wonderful, amazing guest to the show. Lance, good morning, Lance.
What's happening?
Hey, Lance.
What is up? Oh, man, Pete paid 50.
I kind of agree with Pete. Now, I don't believe in the 40 burger.
All right, hold on, Lance. I'm gonna take you back out real quick. Pete paid. Give me a second. We'll put you in the back. Pete.
Nah, you can leave that trucker here.
I'll leave that trucker.
Gotta take people out.
I'll leave Lance up. Okay.
Hey, but I'm here. Listen, this is my little issue, right, Steven? And I want to talk to you right now because I'm hearing, and I know this is not about you, but Christopher Greer. You mentioned his name. You think he has to go, right?
Yep.
Everybody thinks
I don't think he has to go. I'm just saying, like it's going to.
But wait. This is why it gets tricky. Okay, and shout out to I don't remember his name, so I can't even say that. So this is where it gets tricky, Steven, right? This is where it gets tricky.
Wow.
Wait, Steven, this is where it gets.
I can't. He paid 100.
He knocked him out. This is like a game of knockout. This is like 7.
He paid 100. So hey, technically, 100 is a week-long ban. Just so you know.
Oh my God.
100 is a week-long ban.
Pete was rolling.
Look at Pete's face. Y'all don't see his face in the background. He's like this. Pete gone for a week at the moment. Now Pete can double and bring himself back.
Wow. Drama over here.
Damn.
I know.
Let's get Lance. Let's get
The
Lance
part
started.
that I disagreed with you guys on, if Skyler wins, we play out with Skyler. He's proved that he can win big games.
I'm gonna cross the bridge when we get there to make that. I mean, look,
I'm not saying he's gonna. I don't know.
No.
But if he balls out, and he wins, we finish with him.
If you're asking, or if you're just insinuating that the Dolphins are going to make the playoffs because of a great game by Skyler, then I'm happy to have the conversation throughout the week on what might be the best option to win that particular game against that particular match. Because I guess you could argue that Skyler would have deserved that, but then it opens up a whole can of worms, Lance. It really, truly does. With what? Well, if Tua is ready,
he's not.
That's fair. That's totally fair. Right now, I'm saying if he is medically cleared to be a quarterback, he really has to be the one to play if he's cleared.
No, I disagree with that.
Completely fair. But again,
yeah, I just disagree. He's already proven, even in college, he won one. He went to the championship, 3 times? And I'm giving him the one that he did win.
Right. I mean, look,
he folds. He folds into big games. It just is what it is.
I would love to have the conversation about Skyler having a terrific game and helping to lead this team in the playoffs. And then outside of that, whatever other factors lead to the Dolphins needing to make that decision, happy to have. But it's a good thing if Skyler Thompson plays phenomenal. And that's what I'm hoping.
Right. I mean, Tua could be a good backup. If personally, I think he should retire. Yeah, way too many concussions.
Well, I agree
for
with
me.
you.
And I know there's other people that have had them. But this ain't a monkey see, monkey do thing. Right. This is more being concussed that many times in a year is serious.
It's like 3.
It is.
It's like 2 months. It's not even a year. So
within
further your point.
Yeah, and it happened within a few months. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, that he's playing with fire. He's got his kids to think about now. Does he want to be wheeled around in a chair like Muhammad Ali did?
I think that I get you're playing the extreme thing here, Lance. There are plenty of professional football players that have dealt with multiple concussions in a season, good, bad, or indifferent. I'll tell you exactly what I've said all this week. If the doctors clear him and Tua wants to play, that is Tua's prerogative. If the doctors clear him and McDaniel says, I don't want you to go out there, I'm worried about your future, that's also McDaniel's prerogative, and I wouldn't have a problem with McDaniel overstepping there and saying that, right? For the rest of this year.
But I think that's something Tua should answer to himself.
Well, I mean,
is it really worth it? I mean, he is injury prone. I mean, regardless of what you think.
Lance, I know you're going to the extreme, but Von Joe, I think, is right. And this is an extreme comment, too. If that's the case, 1/4 of the NFL would need to retire, if not more, if we're going by that logic.
Right.
You can't. You have to understand when it comes to the Tua situation and the concussions, by NFL standards, whatever the NFL says, so be it. Good, bad, or indifferent. It's evolving, it's changing, whatever. But
how many had
Steven, you got to take in account that the next small bump or any kind of hit takes them out. Or if y'all want to go by the concussion makes me play bad logic, the next hit, no matter what kind of hit it is, most likely going to follow up by 4 or 5 different bad plays to cost you the game.
That's on Tua, Crypto. That's on Tua. If he passes
yeah.
concussion protocol and he decides he wants to play, who the heck are we to say anything different? We're not.
Well, it's up to the owner to save a player from himself.
The owner? No. Maybe the head coach.
Both. Everybody above.
I'll say this, and then I do have to jump, but happy and a healthy Friday and a new year to everybody. Just getting that out there, and thanks for everyone to join. If Tua is cleared, if doctors clear him, yes, it is his prerogative to go on out there. If he has that information, knows he can be cleared, the team wants him there. I believe that is his space, even if it is the playoff game. That's his job. His job is the QB1 of this team until gross misconduct or just hell.
So if Skyler gets us in the playoffs,
if it wasn't really a benching in the first place.
Real quick, if Skyler gets us in the playoffs, why would we want to have Tua come back if Skyler just beat the second-ranked defense, getting us into the playoffs?
So you bring up hold on.
Hasn't been able to beat a good
Let me
defense.
answer that. You bring up a decent question, Cap.
Exactly, Lance, especially late in the season.
If Skyler were to go and ball out this Sunday, does Skyler deserve a chance at a start in the playoffs?
Yes.
My answer is if Tua comes back and he's healthy, it's Tua's job. It's Tua's job to lose.
I'm leaning there.
And it's not even his job to lose. Tua's
that's a dangerous game.
Thank God I snuck in here. And I know I'm gonna get kicked out.
You didn't. No, you didn't.
Was that Pete? Was that
trying
Pete
to be sneaky.
Oh boy. Well, let me say this.
It just seems to me
should have did a voiceover.
It just seems to me like if you say something to Sarney about as far as like trying to make a move, it's like, yeah, but it doesn't work with our plan. But I mean, what if we have to make a quarterback change? Yeah, but it doesn't work with our plan. I mean, our plan has not haven't been
This
working.
is all moot point anyways because we're going to lose badly anyways.
People in the front office are not working out with their decision making. I think you would want to try another contingency plan if the billionaires aren't really making the smart decision.
Listen, if Skyler is the hot hand, you ride the hot hand. You don't put in Rusty Tua for the playoffs.
Exactly, especially he's missed all those games. That's dangerous. Exactly, Von Joe. You do what the Eagles did.
Skyler's had rust for the past 5 games.
I'm saying if he balling out,
he's saying if he gets hot and he starts playing well.
Tua had, last 5 games had
because
rust.
we sat there and said the Pittsburgh game he was rusty, so we gotta put him against KC or Buffalo in the playoffs.
Exactly,
no.
That's a dangerous game. Exactly.
But
and he's rusty. What are we? Where do you guys get your logics from?
You guys do the dirty work. You guys do the dirty work and let me get in the playoffs and play. I don't think that's fair.
Did they play Hurts after Tua won the championship, or did he go up, or did he sign the next year? I don't remember.
No, after that, bro. I mean, we're doing the dirty work.
No, we talking about the NFL. We're looking at what the Eagles did when their quarterback got hurt and he was ready to come back and they still went with the hot hand and freaking Foles.
Real quick, Jason Sarney, I have complete beef with you with what you said about Byron Jones.
Sure, oh, wow. Talk to me, Vaughn.
Because Byron Jones is a person, right?
Oh, I'm aware.
And we are an organization, right? The organization treated him like an asset, just like this piece of paper, this mouse, this computer, right?
This is a business.
So once you treat somebody like that, okay, you treat him like a business. Okay. He says, okay, you're treating me like a business after I restructured and showed love to you guys, and you guys get spit back in my face and try to trade me. You're treating me like I would sit there and I'll flip Miami the bird also and said, no, to hell with y'all.
Me saying my thoughts on Byron isn't saying that the Dolphins organization is free and clear of all things from a contractual stand base and how they do their business. That's like sometimes when I tweet something within 150 characters and I don't necessarily say something, it's not me saying that I don't believe it or whatnot. I just didn't put that into my thought process. So if I'm going to go and talk about the side of on the Dolphin side of things, oh my God, there's been plenty of things that have been mishandled and they don't get a free pass all the time. But in this case, your best availability is being on the field to show your worth. And Byron could have said, you know what? I'm going to try to play to the best of my ability, which I believe he could have gotten on the field, and he could have upped his worth for the future of his own career. So I'm not saying that the Dolphins organization are scot-free in how they handled it. There very well may be details, like Steven alluded to, that come out and puts us all back on the Byron Jones side. But when you hear something when you hear something that Sam Madison said, that's Sam Madison, someone who wore the colors, someone who's won a Super Bowl as a coach with another organization and as a player with another organization. His words mean something to me. So when I'm listening and reading between the lines to Sam Madison, I think Byron should have said, you know what? I'm going to put the best bunch of film on that I can. I'm going to come back. I'm going to be a teammate. So that's what I could put on my resume. Right now, we're seeing Byron sitting out. And I don't know the extent of his injuries, but he's not making the effort to get back in.
Again, that I don't understand. How could I sit here and be a teammate and put my life, my body, my career on the line for a team that didn't do the same for me?
Let me ask you another question.
Hold up. How are they supposed to do
$50 million. He's making
by not trading me. By not saying by not saying that, oh, you know what? You restructure after I restructured to help out so you can make space to bring in another talent. Now once that talent is here, you're gonna eject me?
It is a business.
Correct.
Exactly. It is a business. So I'm going to make a business decision.
And by the way,
it doesn't work like that.
Why? No. See, again, that's what
it does when it comes to his own personal life.
Jason, if I'm quoting you incorrectly or interpreting what you said wrong, please stop me. I don't believe what Jason nor myself was saying that we're 100% pissed off at Byron. Correct. We get it. We understand it. But the way the NFL has worked and has worked for many years is that you sign a contract, you play to your contract. He got hurt. He had a chance to come back. He was strong enough to come back. Everybody at this point has a little bit of an injury or has some injury that affects them in some way, shape, or form. We're saying he was strong.
Let's pause there for a second.
He was good enough to play. And that's what Sam Madison said. Sam Madison said some people play with injuries, some people don't.
But hold on, Steven, let's stop there. He signed a contract saying that he's going to be in Miami for a number of years, right?
Okay.
But again, it's always a business when the team sits there and says, "Oh,
that's
we don't."
That's the way.
Steven, I didn't cut you off. Steven, it's the business. Just because a business was done that way for a number of years, that don't mean it was done right and correctly. Because at the end of the day, we signed a contract saying we're going to keep you here for a number of years, but it's a business when we sit there and say, "Hey, we're going to get rid of you now. We don't want you anymore."
Do you hear yourself? You want professional sports to change the way they've done things for the last 60, 70 years? Are you kidding me?
Wait, why can't hold on. Why that can't
it's
change?
not working in Miami.
Hold on. Why that can't change?
Because
the NBA. Hold on. The NBA been around for how many years? They didn't change how they work.
No, you listen. Shush. You sign a contract. And when you don't play up to that contract, or when you deem you're expendable, that team has the right to say, you know what, we value you, more. We value something more rather than you playing here. So we're going to see what we can go get for you. That is what they did. They went and made phone calls and they said, "Are you interested in this gentleman? Are you interested in this gentleman? Are you interested in this gentleman?" No. Nobody was more. So for them, nobody wanted him.
And again, I'm going to say this:
wanted him in order for them to trade him.
I get that, and I say this:
get healthy, and if you can come back, great. If not, whatever it is.
And again, I'm saying this: if you're saying that the NFL has been like this for years, so it should stay like that. That's like saying, okay, you know what?
I'm saying it's how the NFL is. I'm not saying that it should. I'm saying it is. And if you think that Byron Jones is the player that's going to change that, you're outside your ever-loving
I'm not saying that he's the player that's going to change that, but at the same time, do you treat it like a business? I'm saying, this is me saying advocating for all players in the NFL.
Yeah,
if they're going to treat you like a piece of meat and treat you like a business, okay, you treat the NFL like a business.
Vonjo, you and I, look, let me tell you what's wrong about your statement. If you
There's nothing wrong about my statement. There's nothing wrong about your outlook.
Listen to me. If you truly feel like that, then you shouldn't watch sports. I'm gonna be real with you.
How?
That is how, because your statement is basically saying professional teams treat players like meat, and that's what it is. Well, don't watch sports then, because that's what
that's not. Don't watch sport. At the same time, the NBA the players are getting more and more control in the NBA.
They're called no trade clauses, which happens in the NFL too, buddy.
Exactly.
No, it's called guaranteed contract.
Again, I am telling NFL players, I want NFL players to be more like the NBA, be more like the baseball leagues, be more an advocate for players.
You want guaranteed contracts.
Yes.
Okay. Then the NFLPA in the collective bargaining agreement should be stating, we're not going to play your sport unless you give us guaranteed contract money. Point blank. By the way, let's also get one other thing straight about this Byron Jones situation.
Go ahead.
Owed up their end of the bargain too, and that is paying the player, which they have done. They have not withheld money.
What's up, Lewis?
Can we talk about something that matters? Who cares about Byron Jones? What are y'all crying about Byron Jones?
Lewis, I agree with you. I definitely, and Vonjo, I love sports debate. And I think that you're taking your side and you're debating properly, and I appreciate that. As long as people aren't saying the FOH, get the frig out, screw you, I love a debate, and you are absolutely entitled to the opinion, as well as everybody. But I believe that if Byron Jones was not happy with what was going on with restructuring, you know what? If I was an all-world cornerback, not happy, getting paid $50 million, and maybe want to go elsewhere, you know what I would do? I would suit up week 6 and say, look what I just did. Now trade me to a contender. I restructured. And that might make it easy. He decided to not put his value on the field. He is 100%. Not telling 31 other teams. And then I got to bounce. And I hate to do this. I'm not going to – I'll let you –
No.
I got a 12 o'clock work call with the real people that pay the bills. So I got to hit that up of Vonjo.
I'm not real.
No, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that.
That was the time I ever heard one.
I'm with Jason Sardi. I got 12 o'clock also.
I did not mean that. You know what I mean.
Jason, I'm with you. I have a 12 o'clock also, so make it quick.
All right, Jason, be good, bro. Love you, Jason.
I'll make it real quick. The best way for Byron Jones to have maximized his value was to get himself on the field to show 31 other teams, look at what this guy could do. Now, it might be wrong, it might be fabricated, it might be false, but now 31 other teams have an idea of what Byron
the type
Jones
of player,
is
good, bad, or indifferent.
That's going to hurt him more than getting back to on the field at 85% and maybe tweaking an ankle again. That would have shown me, everyone, that this dude's a bowler, a warrior. You know what? I'll trade 2/3 for him if he's going to come in here next year and be a player for us, because there's no value for him right now.
Or he could have got injured.
Or, you know what?
Nobody's denying that he's hurt.
Mike Gesicki got paid a lot of money this year, and his future value has hit the toilet.
Every game.
Has hit the toilet.
Because they don't know how to use them.
Correct.
No, they did. They just chose not to.
Give me a guy like a Mike Gesicki who has just grinned and bared it. Maybe his body language looked somewhat not great at times, but ultimately he has done everything he's can to turn a lousy situation for him.
He should actually get traded.
Well, that ship has sailed. But Mike Gesicki is going to go somewhere else next year, and if he's utilized right, if he's utilized wrong, he's going to be a consummate pro.
Mike G should actually get traded to Buffalo, because
that will actually, Vonjo, you'll see me at Niagara Falls and wish me goodbye if that happens.
Because Mike G was like, he was up there. Hey, man, how do you get him to throw the ball to you, man? How do you do that? I want to be like you.
I know I have a real serious question before I get out of here.
Jason,
too.
Be good, Jason. Love you, brother.
I love you guys. Fins up, everybody. Vonjo, be well.
Take care.
Go ahead, Lewis.
I just came up here because of the Tua Tagovailoa, the return of the left-hand arm of God. And my question would be, why would he return? Because in the 3 years he's been a quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, what big game has Tua Tagovailoa won for this franchise?
0.
Nobody's won a big game because we haven't played in any of them.
I don't care about nobody. That wasn't the question.
What you mean we haven't played in any of them?
We haven't played in any big games.
What do you mean we haven't played in any big games?
No,
We
no,
haven't
no.
had-
Played many big games.
No, he said nobody has won a big game. And again, I'm not
No,
talking
he
about
said,
nobody.
even just said we haven't played in any big games. What are
I'm
you
saying
talking
both.
about?
I'm saying Lewis's and yours. Go ahead, Lewis. Finish your statement, Lewis.
I'm just saying, why would we want him back? The playoffs would be a big game, and Tua has showed us that he can't win big games for us. So what is the big? I don't understand what this rush is to bring Tua back when
All right.
he has proven to us he don't
Nobody's
win big
saying
games.
that. Here's what we're saying, Lewis. Get it right, my guy. Get it right here, sir.
That's what
What
you
we're
and Jason
saying
Sarney said. You said
Okay.
you would bring him back.
Okay. Listen, shh. Listening is fundamental.
Did Steven
The Miami
freeze or-
Dolphins, if
Mhm.
they win on Sunday with
Mhm.
He
Skylar
froze
Thompson
again.
as their starting quarterback,
Mm-hmm.
the question was asked, should Skylar then get the go to start the playoff game?
Right,
Because he's hot.
right.
Okay. My answer to that is if Tua is healthy,
Right.
Tua should get the start. And here's why. Number
Okay.
one, Skylar would have shown one game against a team that is not in the playoffs that he's good.
Against a top-rated defense, you have to add that caveat.
Listening is fundamental, gentlemen. Tua has won multiple games and has been the starting quarterback the whole year.
Get
So
out
you
of here,
want
bro.
me
No, 0 games in December.
Listen, you want me to put my third string quarterback in to start a playoff game against Kansas City, Buffalo, or Cincinnati, rather than a person who's had semi-success and done that? I'm going to go with the quarterback that has had semi-success.
The Philadelphia Eagles already answered this question already, Stephen.
I'm going to
And
go
the
with
What you
San
just said
Francisco
is all
49ers.
irrelevant.
I'm going to go
The
with
And
Super Bowl
49ers.
champion Philadelphia
All day.
Eagles have already answered this question with Nick Foles. So stop
Nick
it.
Foles
I
went
don't
on
care
a
how-
multiple game win streak, good sir.
I
This is
don't
not
care
the
what you
same
say.
Scenario. Not
It
the same
is.
scenario.
So what is this? What about
Carson
Drew
Wentz was an MVP candidate that year going into the playoffs.
Crypto,
No,
hold on. Let me ask you
no,
a
no.
question.
Nick Carson Wentz was an MVP candidate through 11 games, and then he got hurt. Then Nick Foles came in.
Exactly. He was ready to come back,
It took
Ethan,
him
and they didn't go with him.
there, dude. Are you kidding me?
Steven, how
He
many
was ready to come back.
how many weeks would Tua have been out?
3.
3, right? 2 or 3.
So he would have been out for 3 weeks going if we played in the playoffs. Or
If
is that
we
one
play,
game?
yes.
So that's gonna be 3 or 4 weeks.
Three.
With no football.
Almost 4 weeks.
It'll be
So
4.
almost 4 weeks with no football.
So basically, Tua lost us 8 games because he can't stay healthy.
Hold on. I'm not even getting into
That's
that.
not the conversation here.
I'm not gonna get into that. So
But it's
after
true.
playing almost 4 weeks of no real football, we're gonna throw him into the most intense football that he would have ever played in the NFL. And expecting what?
And you want a 7th
Well,
round
that's
rookie quarterback
malpractice.
to start? You want to set to me that
Yes,
sounds
because he
asinine.
got us there. He's the only quarterback that won a big game that's meaningful.
He
That
would
got
have
us
won
there.
a game against a crappy team that
The
has
games to get us in the playoffs.
He's not
You
playing the
forget that
Jets
part, bro.
offense. He is playing against the Jets defense. They're still top-rated defense.
whatever.
Our starting quarterback hasn't beat a top-rated
We're
defense
just gonna
all
agree to
season.
disagree, and y'all sound crazy as far as I'm concerned. I'm sorry.
Hey, you're the one that want him to
And
sit
you
there and
sound
put
crazy to us.
hospital.
Y'all want to
Somebody
put in a
time
7th
Steven out.
round rookie quarterback against Cincinnati.
I want to
Buffalo.
put in a quarterback
That's
that
crazy
beat
to
a
you.
top-rated defense. Yes.
That's crazy. to
Versus
me.
a quarterback that never beat a top-rated defense in meaningful games.
Steven,
Uh,
no, let's
y'all
just
sound like
think
haters.
about this. No, let's just think
It's
about
not
this.
haters. It's called
Yeah,
probability, Stephen.
Let's think about
the
this real
problem-
quick.
And the probable odds would always lean. The books and stats and percentages would always lean in a million years, 10 out of 10 times, a million out of a million times. The
I don't care how you shape it. It's about the players on the football field.
Oh my
He beat a top-rated Jet team and Tua didn't.
Hey, Steven, if I told you going into a game against Cincinnati, Kansas City, or Buffalo, what's the percentage that you would give Skylar Thompson to win that game?
Less than 5%.
Okay.
Okay, then
If
Tua
going-
gets
going-
3%.
Hold on, Crypto. And the same question applied. Put Tua in there. What's the percentage for Tua?
Probably 25, 35%.
So it's still under 50.
You lost
Doesn't
your
matter.
mind.
It's a loss anyway. In your opinion, it's a loss either way, then, right?
The odds are better suited with Tua as our quarterback in a playoff game.
No, it's not.
Yes, what are y'all talking about?
You just said they're not, though, Steven. If you would have told me
they're better. I said that Tua gives us a better percentage.
You said the making the playoffs.
But it's still a loss, though, Steven. It's still a loss.
What if Skyler wins without Armstead playing?
The question was stated, who gives us a better opportunity to win? And I said Tua does. Listen.
I don't buy that nonsense.
Armstead
Given the
does.
fact that we have a sample size of him coming out.
Crypto, you're gone for 10 minutes. See ya. Have a nice day. Tail Dog said out.
Listening is fundamentals.
Exactly, and y'all do not. Your question to me was, who gives us the better opportunity, the better percentage to win? Not who's going to win the game, because the answer who's going to win the game, neither one of them probably.
Imagine if Skyler wins without Armstead.
Listen, Steven is a Skyler hater.
You know what I'm convinced?
I'm not a Skyler.
The Tuaniers just love pain. The Tuaniers just love pain and anguish and heartbreak, and that's what you guys love it.
Come on, here's the thing, y'all are here's the thing. Y'all are expecting me to think that we're gonna win on Sunday against the Jets, and right now I don't feel that we are. I have us picked to lose.
So you don't think that Chris Greer is going to look better if Skyler does better? I mean, either way, it's a win-win for him as far as what happens in the outcome. I mean, it's his quarterback if he wins, and then you guys still want the other quarterback that's injury-prone to take over the guy he just drafted.
Listen, I'm thinking that is Chris Greer. Chris Greer could go. He could get fired for all I care. I'd give two damn.
Bro. I mean, look, either you're going to play Skyler or not, and that's Chris Greer's mindset, because he needs to, figure out if he got another quarterback or not. Because if not, he's going to be 0 for 2.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Jets are going to win on Sunday anyway, and your miserable season is going to be over with.
Look here, Mark. No, Mark, you ain't going to be coming up here talking all that mess, sir.
Well, tell me the last time you won a game. Was that all in November?
At this point, I just agree with everything Level 2 News says. At this point,
I saw Level 2 News last point. He said 2 years live off if Skynet lives off Imagine. Trade all your sorry asses to the Texan fan base.
I agree, Level 2 News.
It's probably very accurate.
There's going to be a line on January.
I don't care what it is.
On January 9th,
we have 3 backup quarterbacks.
Where every one of these clowns getting
Mark,
fired.
hold on. I'm about to go.
Guess who has to go?
I gotta go after this.
Mark.
Listen, yeah,
Mark, you're gone for 10 minutes.
But I gotta go after this. Like I said, I'm running late for my 12 o'clock. Steven, at the end of the day, we have 3 backup quarterbacks on this team. I don't care what we have to do. Trade away all our assets for all I care. Because again, Greer just proved that he cannot have a consistent draft anyway. So trade all our first-round picks for all I care, and get me the guy. Just get me the guy. Get me a proven guy. At this point, I don't care who it is. Just get.
Well, I think
I'm right there.
I think there's a way we don't have to trade a whole lot if we get Brady.
I'm down to trade the entire roster we have for Lamar. They can all go. Tyreek.
So I'll catch you guys later. And no matter what, still fins up, I guess.
They can all go as long as we get a franchise quarterback.
Hey, Von Joe, don't leave, man. You've been capping all day. I came for you.
Oh, Von Joe, you hear that? Oh, Von Joe, I think really left.
Von Joe's here talking about contracts and Byron Jones and pity parties, and I'm sitting here like, what is Von Joe talking about? The NFL's a business.
Von Joe don't even know what he's talking about. What you talking about, man?
The NFL's a business. Like, so what? Players get traded and trades get declined and things don't work out. You don't sit a pity party and cry. Boo boo. Oh, I'm gonna get traded. I'm now mad. Come on, Von Joe. Come on, Von Joe. What century you live in?
Is that the voice of the king of capping?
Batman, you're gone. Well, Level 2 Noob's on another one today. He's not playing no games.
The king of capping was just up here.
Listen, man, how you guys doing today?
Better than everybody else.
That's Sharif.
This is Sharif.
Uncle
Lou.
I'll holler at y'all boys. I'm out.
How you leaving, Lou? Don't leave, Lou.
I'll be back.
Cat for Life and Lewis both left. What's up with that?
No, because we agree. See, my thing is, Steven, I tried to, I don't think I knew your channel 3 years ago in the war room when we were drafting Tua. So I haven't know, but at that time, right? We weren't stupid. We seen Tua in the championship, and we also seen Burrow. We seen his
One
one standout
championship.
year, right? So but my thing is, at that time we were coming off Tunsil. So I said, if Tampa doesn't get Tristan Wirfs, and if San Fran doesn't get Kinlaw, let's get Tristan Wirfs. Everyone went at me in the war room at the time, and I really thought that the Dolphins was going to get Jordan Love, because once again you can get Tristan Wirfs, which would replace Laramie Tunsil. I'm giving people the context of our mindset at the time. This is where I thought Greer failed. Now the fans are agreeing with me, and they're not laughing at me when I say Cesar Ruiz, Tristan Wirfs, and Jonathan Taylor. Now you see Greer is a epic failure, because you had the offensive line that you aspired to have, Greer, right in your face. You could have just drafted Tristan Wirfs, Cesar Ruiz. You could have drafted Penei Sewell the next year. You still could have gotten Rondell Moore. So yes, you wouldn't have been able to get Waddle, but if you would have gotten Penei, which would have given McDaniel the running game that he needed. Now think of this: you have Teron Armstead, you have Penei Sewell, you have Cesar Ruiz and Tristan Wirfs. Which more do you want? We was supposed to build a line from inside out, not just on the defense. We were supposed to build the O-line from the inside out. And we failed with Austin Jackson, failed with Calhoun, failed with Kindley, and this is where I lost it with Greer. Nobody wants to go back to that, Stephen, but it's a smelly poo now, right? So the offensive line that you aspired to have, and you were looking in the face of picking them for nothing. This is where Greer. Then you try to better it by getting old offensive linemen who are injury prone. So you got to be kidding me, Steven. You can't whiff on linemen, not that you had to move up and get, linemen that you passed on, which could have potentially protected Fitzmagic and give Fitzmagic more time with Gailey for this offense to be more than just the top 20 offense. So that's where Greer failed. And after that, you see what we got, right? So that's the epic failure.
So in your mind, Chris Greer should not come back next year.
In my mind, when I hear the excuses of, when I hear the blaming of Flo and the blaming of McDaniel or the blaming of anything, I think if you're tearing it down, you've gotten rid of Minka, Laramie, you need now, number one, his replacement. So you either need Tristan Wirfs, or if you can't get Tristan Wirfs, you can get Jonathan Taylor and Cesar Ruiz at 21. They didn't go in and we watched college. We knew who the best were. Okay, you can't get your tackle. We can get the best center. And then next year we can get Penei. So Greer, it was there for you to get. So you can't say someone picked him ahead of you. That's where Greer effed up for me, man.
I understand Greer has made a lot of mistakes, and I'm not saying that he should or shouldn't be on the hot seat. I'm saying that if the Dolphins don't make the playoffs this year, everybody should be on the hot seat. That's one. Number two, I also feel as though, the Miami Dolphins, when it comes down to it, they have shown, not just Greer, but just in general, they've made decision after decision after decision, all questionable. There's been no clear-cut correct decision this franchise has made over the last 20 years. And that includes the Tyreek, right? Because I love Tyreek, and I'm glad he's here, and I'm super excited that he's a Miami Dolphin. But is Tyreek going to handcuff us in the future with the contract or whatever? And look, as far as I'm concerned, the only reason we're in the position that we're in today is because of Tyreek. Let me just throw that out there. I'm glad Tyreek's here. I want him. I'm just saying that in the future, there could be an argument to be made. Oh, the Tyreek contract handcuffed our franchise or whatever it is. There has been no clear-cut, definitive, correct decision by this franchise in the last 20 years.
Well,
None.
I
Absolutely none.
I spoke with Kyle. I think I spoke with Kyle and then watched this video about breaking down this off season, right? And he is on point when he says that going into this off season, the Dolphins can restructure Tyreek. They can restructure one more player, I think. Oh, they can actually re-sign. So restructuring Tyreek, re-signing Christian Wilkins will save you money if you re-sign Christian Wilkins after the season. Now, essentially, you will save $54.5 million. And I followed him up and did the math and did the SPO track and everything. $54 million. All you have to do is just let Teddy go, let Gesicki walk, let Ethan Carthon go, let Fedulum go, trade. You have to trade Cedric, and all you would have to do is keep everyone else, and you save $54 million. Now, that said, what cap hole are we in going into next season with Tua, Skylar, and a new backup? Now, he said if you re-sign Wilson, you re-sign Mostert, you re-sign Duke Riley,
I don't even want to get into who we should sign and re-sign or whatever.
But I mean, you say
we don't even know we don't even know who's going to be running this team next year, Sharif.
Right, but you still have $38 million. But I'm just saying.
Yes, we do. The assistant for the Baltimore Ravens is going to be our new GM.
But just for numbers' sake, we are not in a hole.
We already know the list is out there, Steven.
We can just restructure
next year, I hope,
and we can
Brady.
re-sign Christian Wilkins, and we have a bunch of money guaranteed by Kyle Krabs.
We don't have to get rid of Wilkins or anybody if we get Brady.
Right. Yeah, we don't go the Brady route. It's going to be the Baltimore Ravens route or the Green Bay route with Hackett and Rodgers, like Cutler said.
Sign Brady to a 3-year deal, and even if he just coaches the last two, he could teach.
I just don't want people getting scared that we're in a hole. We have a lot of cap space.
There's ways around it.
Yeah, nobody's denying that you can manipulate the cap or make the cap work for you. Like, I don't think that's the issue.
By doing two things?
I got you, Sharif.
I think Stephen Ross is cleaning the house anyway. Remember at the very beginning of the season, I had the same icon, Crypto Ross 11. He told me personally, we have to win 11 games in order for it to be a successful season. We're not going to get to that mark, Steven. So guess what? We're cleaning house anyways.
Yeah.
Hey, just a little bit, some updating news. I don't know if it's breaking news, but Skylar Thompson has officially been named the starter for Sunday.
Yes.
Teron Armstead is listed as questionable or doubtful / game time decision.
Shocking.
Cedric Wilson is also doubtful for Sunday's game versus the Jets.
Shocking.
As well. So,
you know they can't let Skylar
strip
play
him of an offensive line and strip him of his weapons. This team has officially cashed in the chips.
McDaniel's sabotaging Skylar.
Yep.
Of course he
exactly, Lance.
Oh my God, y'all are tripping. Every last one of you are tripping.
This roster can play
Are we really about to get a conspiracy that McDaniel's just sabotaging himself?
It's a good conspiracy. When did
he's sabotaging the quarterback because he don't want Tua to be upstaged.
Let me get this right. We just confirmed that Skylar's the starter.
Yep.
So if Skylar wins us this game, you think it's fair to him to not get the starting job in the playoffs, bro? You really think that's going to be fair? No, now that it's official. Now that it's official.
Especially without Armstead.
Two things. Number one, can we please just get into the playoffs first before we have the conversation?
Yeah, if Skylar gets us in.
But number two, with the to answer your question, and I'll state it again since y'all are asking the same thing.
No, because now it's legit. It's not a hypothetical no more.
Skylar wins the game. It's still a hyphypothetical.
What you mean?
If Skylar wins the game, we don't know if he's going to.
Skylar's the starter. That's a fact now.
Okay, so that's a guaranteed win for the Dolphins. Is that what you're saying?
No, the fact is that Tua once again is inactive.
It's 100% now, Steven. Now it's official.
So he's inactive.
I picked us to lose, but now
he doesn't want to get his hands dirty, but he wants to get in the playoffs.
The way you're talking, Steven, is reckless. You're making me change my mind. Now I think we're going to win.
But you okay with him going into the playoffs and taking the credit for Skyler's win?
Yep, that's what happened.
If
Just like they did with
Skyler,
Hurts.
unless Skyler has a Baltimore Ravens game, okay,
He's going to have
Skyler
it
has
spread out throughout the game.
You better hope and pray he does. That's the only way Tua gonna play.
Listen, are you gonna let me answer your question? If Skyler has a Baltimore Ravens game, I will concede to the notion that there will at least be a conversation. Should we play Skyler or should we play Tua? But apart from that, aside from that extreme scenario, if Tua is cleared by medical doctors and is given the opportunity to come back, Tua will play. If Tua's not cleared, then the conversation.
And then the Pittsburgh Steelers game happened all over again.
So how does the optics work for the Dolphins that way with Stephen Ross and Chris Greer drafting a guy that doesn't get to play, but it plays the injury prone guy that he drafted? Unless this doesn't make sense here, bro. Like you don't want to see the wrongness of this right now, bro.
It doesn't, man. And the thing is, right, you whiffed on Calhoun, you whiffed on Dieter, you whiffed on Kinley, you whiffed on so much offensive linemen to protect a limited quarterback. And you argued up and down, it seems, to try and get these linemen in like they would do something when you were looking at pedigree.
Sharif, I love you, man, but we're going one way, you're going the other way right now, bro.
You're coming back to the offensive line.
Man, this is why Greer has to be gone, because you were looking, Cap was right there in the war room. That was pedigree lineman to replace Tunsil. You agree, Cap?
Bro, 100%, but I'm not going to dwell on it now because these people don't want to hear that either.
No,
everything that we've been saying,
now
Sharif,
we can fire
everything that
Greer.
we've been saying to do that they didn't do is coming back to bite him in the ass.
Now we can fire him, though. That's the good thing.
Answer me this. The front office, the guys who are getting paid billions of dollars, don't know what the hell they're doing if we lose on Sunday. Plain and simple.
But now we can fire him because it's 3 years later. I was saying this from the crack of the gun. You're looking at a stud who could replace Laramie. You're looking at Creed Humphrey. You're looking at Cesar Ruiz. The next year, you're looking at Panay. You got Robert Hunt. That's an all-pro line, bro. You bring in Armstead.
You better hope and pray Skyler gets us in the playoffs, Steven. Because if Skyler doesn't get us in the playoffs, this is going to be a long offseason.
Greer missed on too many opportunities to get a franchise quarterback, and this is why. This is what's going to be the nail in Greer's coffin right here. If we lose or when we lose to the Jets and Cleveland wins, we have exactly the same record, and they missed a starting quarterback for 11 games. Think about that for a moment.
Crypto,
We will have the same record as the Cleveland Browns. They missed their starting quarterback for 11 games, and we only missed our starting quarterback for 4.
By the way,
so that means Greer automatically is gone because he decided to let the coach pick the quarterback and look up 700 freaking plays to decide to go with a guy that's unreliable. That would be the death knell for Chris Greer. If he better hope the Cleveland Browns don't win and we lose,
better hope and pray
that
Skyler
would be a
Sunday.
serious indictment on Greer's decisions.
Sunday, bro. Because if Skyler does not win Sunday, I'm telling you right now, bro, 3 years in a row, and you guys are going to try to mind bleep me? 3 years in a row? Nah.
God forbid if the Cleveland Browns end up with the exact same record as us and they missed a starting quarterback for 11 games.
I don't know what
that's more than enough right there.
I can't believe the mindset with some of you guys, bro. The guy wins, gets us in the playoffs, hypothetically speaking, if he does it, and you want to bench him.
That right there would be enough for Ross to say I'm firing Greer because I went and settled 20 cases out of the 22. Personally went to Texas to try to get my franchise guy, and Greer went with the other direction. That right there would tell you enough.
Time out, Crypto. Cap, you want me to take a win by a third-string rookie quarterback, a 7th-round third-string rookie quarterback, against a team that's already out of the playoffs and has a lot of injury. I get their defense is what it is. I'm not, it's whatever. Okay. You want me to take that win. And with the exception of it not being a Baltimore Ravens game, right? Where there's 6 touchdowns thrown and he's on fire. With the exception of that, you want me to put in a third-string, 7th-round rookie quarterback?
He's no longer a third string. Stop it.
Hold on. If you think this game
is
so
QB1.
If you
Oh
think
my
this
God,
game is
y'all
so
are
cake, why isn't Tua playing if you think this game is so cake?
y'all, this is the problem. Y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all what the problem is.
Why can't you answer that question?
Y'all want so
If you
bad
think this game
for
is so
Skylar
cake,
Thompson
why
to
isn't
be
Tua playing?
Tom Brady or
Because
If
Skylar
Tua's
you
a nice
think this
guy.
game is so
Purdy.
cake,
You want
if you
so
think this game is
bad,
so easy,
so bad.
if you think this game is so easy, why isn't Tua playing?
I never said it was easy.
Okay, well, if
You can't
Skylar
depend
wins,
on him.
As a matter of
Tua
fact,
said it was
as a matter of
easy.
fact,
Then he had that
as a
freaking
matter of
Raiders
fact, I
game.
said that we would lose this game, and I still believe that.
and if we win,
Great. I'll be happy. I'll be rooting the next week, and I'm ready. I'm going to watch this game no
who are you
matter
going to
what.
be rooting
I'm
for?
gonna be rooting for
Who are you going to be rooting for on Sunday?
the Dolphins to win.
Listen,
Oh, the
one
two
of the
Airs be
things,
rooting
But I
for
can
Jets.
say that I think we're going to lose.
one of the
I'm
things
surprised
I think
you actually rooting for the Dolphins, Stephen, when Tua's not starting
I
quarterback.
love the
I'm proud
I'm
of you,
a
Stephen.
Dolphins fan till the day that I die. You're never
One
going
thing
to stop that. But I can,
one
but I
thing-
can easily stand up here and say, look, I get my team sucks right now, and right now there's really no
The
hope.
biggest game of the
nothing I
year, and Steven doesn't show up to Miami. The biggest game of the year, and Steven does not show up to Miami, bro.
one of the things that I think is not going to help us is that I love that the TNT wall was here 2 years ago, and I love that the veterans did 50 push-ups on a failed
Sharif,
executed play.
I love you, Sharif. I love you. Shut up about the offensive line. I can't deal with the offensive line.
No.
This
The
offensive line is
no.
the best they've
And
been
not
in the
only
last
that,
2
the
years.
Pittsburgh
The TNT
Steelers are going to have a better record than us.
Listen, the
They don't want to hear
TNT
this,
wall.
bro. They don't want to hear it.
The TNT wall was specifically if you did not execute the play or caused a penalty. You remember, guys? Flo would have you do 50 push-ups during the game on the sideline. Remember X? Everybody followed X. He's the leader. And that's not here anymore. You know what's going to kill us this game coming up? Penalties, non-discipline, no TNT wall, no accountability.
Right.
That will kill us alone.
It'll be the intangibles with the penalties. Exactly. That's going to contribute as well.
And this is what I'm saying. So it's like the TNT wall is needed. And it's like we're crying out for some discipline from Flo, but you could never look to see it from McDaniel. You could even, just how he's set up, you will never look to see anything like close to discipline from him.
What kind of sense of entitlement is that? Giving a job to a guy who's been injury prone, and the guy that's a rookie gets you in the playoffs and you bench him. That's the sense of entitlement to me. That's a backbreaker when it comes to this guy, bro. People are getting fired all around him.
Exactly.
The owner gets suspended.
That is definitely entitlement. You got
the owner gets suspended. People are getting fired around him. People are getting demoted. I mean, you guys are like not listening to what's going on here, bro.
What am I not listening to? Explain to me what I'm not listening to, because here's what I'm. No,
Steven, you guys are desperate.
Let me. No, I get a couple things. Number one, our QB1 Tua. Okay, he is injury prone.
He's not QB1. He's not playing Sunday. QB1 is Skylar.
Just sit there with your hot dogs and shut your mouth. What I'm trying to tell you, okay?
QB1 means who's starting that week on the depth chart.
Okay,
Skylar is QB1. Deal with it.
I'm going to tell you all three of our quarterbacks. Okay, quarterback A. Okay, Tua. Quarterback A, Tua. Tua's injury prone. Tua also, not only is he injury prone, he's played really bad over the last 5 weeks. Okay, I don't know what happened. Don't know what's going on with him. Okay,
Flo would have put in Skylar.
Before
still want him to play.
Before he was hurt, you're gonna let me get through all three. Before he was hurt, he was playing decently. He was playing. It wasn't even playing decently. He was playing amazing in certain levels, in certain
against
aspects.
no competition.
Does not matter. He was. Okay?
It does.
Quarterback B, Teddy Bridgewater.
Injured.
Bridgewater can't stay healthy. Teddy Bridgewater can't stay healthy to save his life. He can't stay healthy.
But we knew that come in. The Rocks go with the farm.
How did he last so long in the NFL? They got to call him Teddy Longnuts. He lasts long in the NFL.
$10 million.
That's true too, Sharif.
They got to call him Teddy Longnuts, man.
That's classic.
Yeah, they ran away
so long.
The guy misses 6 games in total.
All right. Quarterback C, Skylar Thompson, 7th round rookie quarterback. and is somebody who has not, every time he's come into the game, he's not finished the game, and he's not produced. He's had what, 2 or 3 good drives the entire time.
Bro, at least the man is playing the game.
Okay, you just explained we got 3 backup quarterbacks that we need to get rid of them all.
That's fine. Maybe that's what I'm saying. But you want me to? I'm saying that with all 3 of these quarterbacks, there's not a lot of hope. Okay, not a lot of hope. But you want me to come up here and say that if the Miami Dolphins miraculously somehow get into the playoffs, okay, that I should choose a quarterback that's had 3 or 4 good drives the entire year compared to a quarterback that had some really, really good success at certain times this year.
And
against 4 teams.
To me, that doesn't make sense. That's a logical scenario. The only exception is if Skyler comes out and throws like 6 touchdowns.
What doesn't make sense to me is how Tua's not playing. If
Tua can't even do that. What, he did it once.
Tua did do that.
Once.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
According to a lot of people,
You're going to keep living off that out-of-body experience, Steven, all you want.
Just like Arizona.
You guys are mistaking that I'm sitting here saying that Tua is going to guarantee us a win. No, I'm not. I'm not saying he's not. Tua does not guarantee us a win.
He's going to guarantee us a loss.
No, and you think Skyler doesn't guarantee us a loss?
Not if he wins this week. We don't know.
Not if he beats a top 2 defense.
You hear yourselves?
No, because the Jets still have a good defense. If he beats that defense, then I got confidence going in that he could beat any other defense in the playoffs.
The guy misses 5 games. He cost us 4 games. That's 9 losses, and you want him to come back.
Hey, this is all I want for Skyler on Sunday. Finish the game. Because he hadn't done that yet. Skyler has yet to finish
Let
a
me
game.
ask you a question, Steven.
Tua either. 3 years, Tua. Get it done. This is the 4th year.
Let me ask him a
You're
question.
talking about games. I'm talking about years.
Oh, man. They got Steven. 2 and there's got him. So anyways,
true,
I wanted to ask Steven. Right?
No.
If Greer is giddy about Javon Holland, right? Just real quick, Cap. If Greer is giddy about Javon Holland, and I'm giving Greer credit here, right? You hit on Robert Jones. You hit on Cater Kohu, Needham. So if he's giddy and McDaniel is giddy.
Josh Boyer got Cater Kohu.
Yeah, it was actually Josh Boyer. You're right. But if he hit on Skyler, right? Let's just say he hit on Skyler too. I want to give Greer that opportunity, McDaniel that opportunity to let Skyler fail because they're high on him like Holland, high on him like Kodu, Needham.
Yeah,
they're
that's all
high
I'm saying.
on him.
That's all I'm saying. Give the guy a chance, bro.
But I'm not even fighting the back against the 2 winners. What I'm saying is they got this guy because they're fired up about him. And yes, he landed in our lap at game 18 because we have to use him. Guess what? I'm fired up. Give him the chance to. My thing is this, right? For my money and saving $54 million under the cap next year, I want to see what Tua's gonna do, and if he casually hits his head next year, which he will, because he will be tackled by the legs and he will fall one time. I bet you that. And if he dings his head normally, casually, then we got Skyler in the gun. Now we still get to keep that $54 million. We still get to sign Christian Wilkins and run it back. But I don't want someone out there who can't run, who can't ad lib or off script. And look at Skyler run one time. The linebacker couldn't catch him. Skyler ran one time in that game Sunday, and nobody caught him. He ran to the outside.
You know what? And
then they called it back because of a penalty.
You know what we're gonna hear on Monday, guys?
Exactly.
If Skyler doesn't win on Sunday, people are gonna be on Monday. Oh, you see, Skyler can't pull it off. I mean, if Skyler can't pull it off, that's fine. He's a rookie. But your guy hasn't even played in
will do that. You're right.
Game.
But guess what, Tuaneers? I'm giving Skyler the same freaking chance I gave Tynan.
You're gonna criticize a rookie, but your guy has been playing for 3 years and can't win in a pressure game.
And I'm giving Skyler the same chance I give Tannehill. 7-year plan for Skyler. I don't give a damn.
You had 3 years with your guy. 3 years. 3 years with your guy. No playoffs. It's only fair, bro.
Yeah,
3 years, your guy
they're
hasn't
gonna be
done shit.
scapegoating Skyler, saying he can't win a game and all this
Hey
other
man, at
stuff.
least he played. At least he played. Ain't no doctor had to clear him.
At least
No,
they
he's
never
just knocked
benched him.
out every game. He can't finish a game. He
We ain't got no
starts.
excuses for Skyler. We see what we got. That's it. No excuses. The excuses we've been dealing with the past 3 years, it's enough, bro.
And magically, Skyler's not gonna be playing with Armstead.
And he
I
wins.
think
Wonder
what Steven
how that
hasn't
works.
heard yet. I think what Steven hasn't heard yet, and I've said this on Batman's panel, is Steven, if you look at the all 22s, right, and passing for Tua, when you see Tua check down, it's either to the left or to the right, Steven. When I watch the all 22s of Teddy's dump off or check downs is over the line right in front of him. So Teddy did 4 checkdowns to Mostert over the offensive line. And why do I say over the line? Tua admits I can't see over the line. So if you're crossing or checking down over the line, I can't see you. Therefore, I can't hit you. What I'm thinking now is that's a limitation for Tua. Teddy dumped it over the line so easily. He basically booked in 5 yards.
We got us a
by
touchdown
dumping it
because
off.
of it.
Exactly. And Tua can't do that, Steven. And I know you agree. I'm not trying to bring you off a Tua. What I'm saying is with Skyler dumped it off at least 3 times in that 2-minute drive to score. He can see Skyler's 6'3.5". He can see over the line, and he's more athletic than Tua. Those dump offs that we would like, those check downs that we would like, and not trying to just hit everything deep middle where linebackers are sitting. Guess what? Skyler's going to see those little dump off over the middle. That's 5 in the pocket. Now it's 3rd and 2. My point is this. I have Skyler in the gun who's more athletic and taller than Tua and can see those simple checkdowns because it's simple checkdowns that Tua did not do where he forced it. Because if you look at the all 22, once again, Tua's checkdowns is either to the left or to the right because his peripherals can see it. He cannot see over the line.
That's what Belichick wanted him to do. Belichick wanted him to get the checkdowns. He didn't want the long game, and that's what worked.
Exactly. So in his peripheral, McDaniel has to set up Tua's checkdowns to where he can see it. He can see them. And with taller quarterbacks like Teddy and Skyler, the check down can be right in the front of the line, dump off over the middle. That's 5 yards. And my point is, I would rather scale with a quarterback who can see all levels of the field than a quarterback who's limited, can't see Tyreek cutting right over the middle in the Green Bay last interception and tries to force it into Gesicki. Why? Because you can't see Tyreek right there 3 yards underneath. You can't see him. This is to Steven.
Yeah.
So it's official. Skylar Thompson is the starter. Who was missed officially, 3 weeks? 5 games?
4.
So we lost what? So we lost like
4.5 games.
8 games because of Tua this year.
Four
lost 3
and a half
Sanders.
games was.
I want to say
3
3 of them were Sanders' fault. Yeah.
Well, 5 games we lost because of them. 49ers.
No, 3 and
5
Yep.
plus the 3 games that he missed. 2.5 games, whatever.
Yep.
So that's 8 games.
Because we lost all of them because he possibly could have won it in that scenario.
Oh, but he's an MVP. He's breaking records.
Even though he could have lost
number
them
one
too.
in that. Crypto,
Even if
he's
he
this
played
and that. Number one in this. Number one in that. He's an MVP. Left hand of God. Why he ain't starting on Sunday? Somebody answer me that.
It's because he's fragile.
3 years of excuses, bro, and you guys are still brainwashed, bro. Brainwashed.
And for me, if Skyler doesn't win, then we should go get Brady next year and let Skyler sit behind Brady.
No, if I was a business guy like Stephen Ross,
get a veteran. Go get that guy.
My money
Brady.
my money right now is being played with as a business owner. I'm having liability issues. I'm having front office issues. We're about to break the wrong record as far as the worst collapse in NFL history, possibly. I mean, as an owner, I would think that I would want to, make the margin go up, not down. I mean, I think that's when it's called cutthroat business. And people are so sentimentally attached to this guy. that they're willing for us to take another hit next year.
And if people think I'm taking
I don't
shots
see
at Tua,
nobody
think of
surviving
this.
after a Jets loss. Black Monday is going to be really brutal.
I don't either.
So,
But think of this, guys. Tua is 6'1.5". If Robert Hunt stands up after the snap and Connor Williams stands up after the snap, that's a 6'5" and a 6'4" guy in the front of a 6'1.5" guy. You're not gonna see Tyree curling over the middle. You're not going to see it.
Whatever happens on Sunday. But if Skyler wins that game, bro, you better believe I am gonna try my damnedest to make sure that whatever outlet, content creator, anybody that's out there, bro, we need to start backing up the quarterback that's here to play right now. Because right now, there's too many guys in witness protection program on this team, and we need to focus on the guys that are here right now and support them.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's why Devontae Parker.
All right,
is so
I'm
great.
back.
Devontae Parker.
First of all,
sorry, Steven.
all of you, every last one of you sound absolutely insane and crazy. Okay.
Nobody talks Steven out of.
No. All of
really, Steven?
Understand this. I want y'all just breathe it in. Breathe this in.
My therapist says I am not crazy, bro.
Just listen. On Sunday, the Miami Dolphins are going to do.
You haven't said if you agree that Skyler can see over the line.
Always do. And that is be mediocre at best.
Can Tua see over the line, Steven?
Will we win? Maybe. Maybe we'll win. But they're going to be mediocre at best. And if you guys are happy with mediocre, well then, wow.
Oh, you are with Tua.
No, you guys feel free to say that Skylar
He just thinks that Skylar doesn't have the pedigree.
Franchise, and I want you guys to just go out with that narrative.
He just thinks that
Skylar is the best quarterback on this roster right now. That's what the Big O said.
Steven just thinks that
he has the best arm on the roster.
You're going to get blown
Where's
out.
the left-handed
That's what
guy?
he thinks.
Where's the fourth quarter king? Where's he at?
I'm so happy.
Stephen D is saying so it's like Keon Crossan. You're playing with special team cornerbacks, and you want a special teams quarterback to play like a legend.
Tell me where is Uno?
Right.
That's what Stephen thinks. You want a special teams quarterback to play like a legend. You want Keon Crossan to certainly play legendary.
You know what I would say if Tua was in the game?
Right.
I just hope that Tua will show up. I just hope Tua will show up. I just hope that Skylar would finish the game.
How many times are you gonna hope Tua shows up?
How many times are you gonna hope Skylar finish the game? Because he hadn't done it yet.
One more hope.
His third chance, Steven.
Steven. Who's more likely to show up, Steven? Igbenogany or Skylar? Who's more likely to show up in a big game?
Noah Igbenogany is the reason that we're still in the playoff hunt today, because without his interception in the
that's what I said.
That says a lot about what you think about Skylar.
That's sad.
You see that's why I ask you that.
I don't have a lot of faith in Skylar. I don't have a lot of faith in Teddy, and I don't have a lot of faith.
He thinks that Skylar's pedigree is just not good enough, only good enough to get blown out in the first round. That's what you think.
Bro, I think the team is bad enough to get blown out in the first round. What are you talking about? You think it's
I guarantee you if Tua was starting right now.
All the Dolphins can catch these hands. They all suck. Every last one of them.
If Tua was starting right now, Steven would be in Miami right now, bro.
No, sure wouldn't be.
He'd get flown out. He'd get flown out.
Hey, Steven, Skylar's going to have a decent game, but guess what? Stephen Ross is still going to have that press conference on Monday.
Yep,
cleaning house.
Sure will, and it'll be. I'm here to announce that everybody is fired. Everybody. I'm going to let everybody go.
And Steven, I kind of agree with Crypto in that a billionaire could make mistakes, know that he made his mistakes, and cut his losses because it's business. It's a good business decision to cut them as quick as you can. And so if they lose this game, if they freaking lose this game, like Steven could say, okay, let me not go down the Tannehill route. Let me cut my losses. I was wrong.
Actually, you want Skylar for 7 years is insane right now, based on the information that you have.
Who said
No,
that?
I want Skyler for 7
I
years
don't.
because they're
I don't
hyped
even.
over him, and I
Skyler
would
I
give
want
him
to
the
see more of
opportunity to
them.
fail.
Based on
I
the
just
information that you have right now, Skyler's nothing more than a project at best.
That can see over the line and
No, he's
make
not. He's
more
a Hall
dump
of
off.
Fame in the making, Stephen,
Oh
and you
my
That
know it.
can see
God.
over the line,
No.
Steven. Let me tell you something. 8 of those
I don't
interceptions in
want
the
you to tell
past
me
4
nothing because
games,
everything you told me is wrong, and I
Steven,
don't
8
believe
of
it.
those interceptions in the past 4 games have been deep middle, 20 yards or more. Guess who Tua couldn't see underneath? A guy curling 5 yards. Tua couldn't see it.
I'd
My
rather not
point
know
is,
for sure than us losing with Tua
look at the
again.
last interception in Green Bay. There's Tyreek curling right there in front of Robert Hunt. He could not see. That's a 6'4" guy standing in front
I
of a
just want to
6
state
foot
for
and
the
a half
record. I
guy.
just want to state for the record. I love being a Miami Dolphins fan. It has brought me closer to wonderful, amazing people. But there are days that I question life decisions that I've made. And today is one of those days. I am questioning life decisions. I'm
Hey,
questioning
don't blame
everything.
me. Blame your quarterback.
What?
No, I'm gonna in the word
Steven,
in the words.
so
that
you're
you
saying
wrote,
you're
I
not
blame my
matching your
parents.
intensity of
I
your
blame
GM.
my parents for making me a Dolphins fan.
Listen,
No, don't blame
you're
Yeah,
not.
them.
You're
Don't
supposed
blame
to
them.
match the intensity of Chris Greer. If Chris Greer is fired up over Skyler, you're supposed to match that, right? Are you a Dolphin?
I'm a
You're supposed
Dolphin.
to say, if Chris Greer is freaking fired up over Skyler, then damn near go Skyler.
I'm
You don't
such
supposed to sound like what you're saying now. You're supposed to say, let Chris Greer prove me right. I'm fired up just as him in Skyler. Then you give Skyler the 7-year plan.
They're set in their ways, bro. They're set in their ways.
Stephen
No,
know it's
because
coming.
he's fired up about Javon Holland. He's fired up about Cater Cole, Nick Needham. We've found people. So if they're like giddy over this dude, at least give him the 7-year plan to fail us.
I hate it here. I hate it here.
That's all we're saying, man.
It's gonna be fun this
Listen.
offseason to finally get it right. They finally going to clean house like
I
they
don't know why
should.
you think it finally get it right. What gives you that optimism?
I think they're finally
Nothing,
going to get it right this time, Stephen.
They can't get any worse. If the worst collapse, if it happens, bro.
See, this is why.
The only way I would hope,
guys.
the only way I think we have a chance next year is when we get rid of Tua.
Yeah.
You know
This
how
is-
God,
this
and
is-
I don't know how
This
religious
is what
you
gives
guys
me the
are,
hope,
but God,
Stephen.
but God has a way of cleaning up a franchise. If Skyler balls out and throws 3 touchdowns,
God don't like
listen
us.
now. Hot
God
take,
don't
hot
like
take.
us. God hates
Listen,
the Dolphins.
hot
I don't
take,
know what
hot
you're
take.
talking about. If God
If
loved
Skyler
us,
throws 3,
if God loved the
if
Miami
Sky-
Dolphins, then boy, we would not be in this picture right now. We would have already
Listen.
clinched the playoff spot. God don't like us at all.
I think what
Football
I'm I
God
think
should
what
No,
I'm
hate
you
us.
saying
can't say
is
that.
Yes,
Don't
they
say
I
that.
think what I'm saying
They
is
hate us,
I
man.
say
This is what gives me
guess how this thing
confidence,
could be
Stephen.
okay, let me say it this
That
way. Guess how
Stephen
this
Ross
thing
is
could
going
be
to get it
cleaned
right
up.
this time.
If Skyler can throw 3 touchdowns in a coming out party, right? It'll be similar to Patrick Mahomes 2 years ago, end of season coming out party. Going into the playoffs, Tua ain't coming back. If Skyler just gets us to the freaking AFC Championship, I guarantee you, our franchise is finally cleaned up. The franchise is clean now. Why?
Yep, we
Because
finally have our franchise guy.
we'll be
That's the
I'm not
we'll
gonna
be
go that
I've
clean.
far.
heard all day. If Skyler brings us to the AFC Championship game, boy, what drugs are you
Listen,
on? 'Cause
You
I
heard it
want
here first.
Hey,
Skyler's taking us
Hey,
to the
they did
AFC
it. They did
title
it for
game.
Tua when he
Oh,
won the
okay.
championship in
It's
college.
Sharif
good.
gets his
Y'all
Sharif
smoking
gets
that
his
real
own
good
show.
over there in the
Sharif
Bahamas.
gets his
Y'all
own
can't
show.
tell me
Sharif,
That's kind of hypocritical of
listen.
2 years.
Sharif gets his own
y'all
show if
hilarious,
Skyler
bro.
wins 1 playoff
Skyler
game,
takes us
Steven.
to the AFC
Make
Championship game, please.
guarantee it right now, Steven. Sharif gets his own show if Skyler wins playoff game number 1.
No, I'm not doing that. That's not happening.
You're not gonna guarantee it.
No, sure
Okay,
not.
so Sharif will get his own show, guys, if
On
Skyler
his,
wins
on his
playoff
own
game 1.
platform. On his own platform, not up here.
So now,
See,
I will
Stephen?
tell you, if
See-
Skyler
see?
takes us to the AFC Championship game, I'll give you your own show.
Okay, I said it the first time, so I'll stick to it. So if Skyler
If
takes us to the
Skyler
AFC
takes-
Championship, We'll be watching film all day for an hour.
If
And I'll
Skylar
teach y'all why
Skylar-
Skyler is the better option.
Skylar takes us to an AFC championship game, Sharif, I will give you your own show.
And
but
we
that
watch
also
film on why Skyler dig them up. And
Yeah, but we
that's
have
what
to
we'll
depend
do.
on
Buckle
other
up, because
teams
Skylar's
losing.
taking us to the championship game, Steven. Buckle
Yeah,
up.
but we got to depend on
And-
other teams losing too. So how that doesn't work too well.
Well, it'll work out because I guarantee you one thing. Buffalo's going to beat the crap out of them for the guy that got injured. They're going to try and hurt
No respect on
New
that man's
England
name, Damar Hamlin.
just for that. Like, they're going to try and kill New England. So I think we're good there. We're going to need the other help.
I don't even know if
which
we're
is-
good there because the league don't
which is
want
the-
us to make it.
What is the
I'm
other
gonna
help
say
we
it.
need?
Hey, everybody quiet. I'm gonna say it. Steven, if that's the deal, I hope we lose on Sunday. If it takes Sharif getting his own show, ain't nobody about to listen to this crap. No. I hope we lose on Sunday. I hope we check us out, because no. This season has been painful enough. Now you gotta have me listen to
Jose
Sharif for an
Bowden
hour?
said
That
if I
must be
do
out of
that,
your
he's
damn
going to
mind.
unsubscribe.
Yeah, must be. You will listen.
Well, Joe,
your
you don't want to
subscription-
listen to some good
Your
film study?
subscribers will go down. That would be the lowest rated show ever. There'll be 2 people watching. Sharif on 2 phones.
Listen,
Wait a
I'm
minute,
gonna-
Von Joe.
we're
I
gonna
thought you wanted to
we're
listen
gonna
to that
force
good
Juan
film
Joe's-
study.
That's so
Hey,
mean.
Crypto, we're gonna
Ain't
force
nobody want
Juan
to listen
Joe's
about
eye to stay open
Cesar Ruiz
during the show.
and Christian Worth for about an hour.
If
No, we're not
if
doing
the
that.
Dolphins make the
Stephen D.
AFC championship
Stephen
game,
D.
I will give Sharif a show.
We're gonna force
And
Juan
you
Joe's
only
eyes
have
to
2
be open
likes
during our show
and 2
when
viewers,
Skyler
and that would
makes it
be
to the
Sharif
AFC
watching
championship.
himself.
We're gonna tie your eyes open, wide open, so you can watch Skyler's show on the AFC
Boy,
championship
y'all must be.
platform.
You must, man.
Man,
What?
that's
We're
gonna be
gonna
a good
force
show.
Juan Joe's eye
Von
to stay
Joe,
open.
we gotta get the popcorn, Von Joe.
Hey, I'm bringing.
We're gonna-
Let me
If,
bring
if,
on
if, if
Ruben.
I'm getting popcorn,
Good morning, Ruben.
for that show, Crypto, it's gonna
Hey,
be
how's it
laced
going,
with
you guys?
THC butter.
Ruben,
Because
you've
I
been
just be rich out of my mind.
My man, Juan Joe.
THC butter.
Ruben, you've been on the show before, right?
Boy.
Ruben, what the hell you doing, man? Hanging out here in Southern California, you guys. Hey, listen real quick. Hey, I've been a Dolphin fan for quite a long time.
I gotta go, Steven.
And I've seen it all. Listen, do you guys remember Bob Greasy?
That name
Yep.
rings a bell.
Yes.
I know that guy. He played for the team back in the early 1900s, right?
He's the
I used
best
to watch
quarterback
him.
in history.
Listen,
I used to watch him at the Orange Bowl.
Listen, you guys are talking about Skyler. After Greasy retired, who was his replacement?
I have no idea.
Woody.
With an A or F, didn't it?
Thank you very much. It was Woody, and his
Woody.
backup was Don. It was Don Strock
Right.
was his backup.
Strock was
Who
the
took him to the
backup,
Super
right.
And then Marino.
They took him to a Super Bowl.
And then Marie. Listen,
Yep,
yes, he did.
Like, this is bad feedback, Cap. I'm putting you on mute.
Woody got hurt.
Woody
Strock
took
took
him
him
to
the rest of the way. It was
Exactly.
Strock that took him the
And it
rest of the way.
was called Wood
Wood
Strock.
Strock.
Wow.
You
Yep.
can do the same thing.
This is a scenario where the backup could take us all the way again. Stephen
Listen,
D,
Because
get
it
the show
happened in
ready.
Dolphin history. Yep.
Sharif,
Get the show ready,
let Ruben
Stephen D.
talk. Let Ruben talk, guys. Go ahead, Ruben.
Listen, I am a Southern California scout out here for a baseball team, Major League Baseball. I scouted a lot of football players that are baseball players out here in Southern California. I travel all West Coast, all the way to Oregon and Seattle, Washington. When I was at Oregon State and Oregon, I seen Justin Herbert. I'm not a Tua guy. I'm not a Justin Herbert guy. But the thing that really gets us as a scout is we see how their feet work is, their mannerisms, which is hands, feet coordination, everything. I did see Tua's play in Alabama. The only issue with Tua coming out was that Tua had a complete all-star team, meaning all pros in the NFL. Front line, running backs, defense. Justin Herbert didn't have that in Oregon. problem is that you can't compete with Oregon and Alabama at the time. My decision was I'd rather take a guy that has an arm, the talent, and if anybody knows during the combine was that there was 2 Dolphin coaches talking to Herbert, having him throw from the goal line to see how far he can throw. Then they had him
Right,
kneel
off his
down.
back foot. I remember that.
Correct. Then they had him kneel on both knees, throw. He was throwing more than 50 yards on his knees at the goal line. Do you know why they did that? They did that because they wanted to find out how strong his arm was in cold weather. We do that a lot with baseball players. All right, we don't have them. We have them throwing from the knees. Question is,
right?
Skylar Thompson. If you look at his, you have these great offensive linemen where he came from school at. So
K-State.
Exactly. Purdy didn't have, as Dan Marino, San Francisco quarterback now, which is the last guy drafted in the NFL.
Mr. Irrelevant.
Look how well he's doing. Exactly.
Well, look, that's talent evaluation, right, Ruben? That's talent evaluation. That's scouting. That's that entire department, and that's the front office not getting it right for the last 20 years in Miami.
Exactly. I agree with you 100% on that. And that's the thing that really gets me. I've been a Dolphin fan since 1967. I am 61 years old. My dad took me to all the Super Bowls that the Dolphins went. Yes, it wasn't good times in the 80s. 70s were great. I live here in Southern California. My dad took me to the 1972 the championship game, the Coliseum, when we went undefeated. I seen it all. I seen the ups and downs. And I'll tell you what, I've listened to your talk show, your podcast with TDs and Do-Wrongs and K-Flex. There's a lot of guys there that get upset and stuff. I was one of them. I used to throw things at my TV. My wife would get the kids and go, I'm out of here.
Yep.
Dad's pissed off. Automatically, I would take my jersey off and just throw it in the hamper bin and just not wear it after a loss.
Yep.
Because I know what would happen. I would always tell my friends, game's not over yet. Dolphins kind of take a crapper on the fourth quarter. It's always been that way, even with the Marino years, even after the Marino years.
It's hope.
But as Dolphins,
it's
You
the
know what I
phrase,
did?
it's the phrase, it's the phrase in the word hope, right, Ruben? Like the Dolphins give you enough hope to for lack of a better term, and I don't like using this term, but for lack of a better term, they give you enough hope to hang yourself with. And and that's what sucks being a Miami Dolphins fan sometimes is how much to get Pete back on Pete? A 200 because Pete was banned for 100, so double to bring him back. Teddy Two Glove. But yeah, like that's where it's at. It's hope.
That's bad news because that's pretty much guaranteeing us a loss by banning Pete for a week. That means we're expecting to lose because we don't want to hear from him. That's bad news, level 2 news.
After my second TV, I used to ball up socks and keep them next to me and throw them at the TV.
My question is, you guys.
Yeah, man. I tell you what. I have a question for Ruben though. When we're scouting.
Hold on, Sharif. Let Ruben finish.
But as I listen to you guys every day or every time you guys come on, I don't usually come on and do this because so you guys are the first ones I've come on to because I'm usually busy every day. I just want to tell you guys, I enjoy your show, Steven. Great praises.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
But as Dolphin fans, I understand you guys say, you guys were born with a curse because you guys fell into the Dolphin fans. Hey, I've been in it for the rest all my life. And hey, you got to learn how to take the punches and the hits and stuff, and just say, hey, you know what? There's always next year.
Ruben,
you know?
so let me, Ruben, let me tell you a quick thing.
I want to ask him a question, Steven.
Hold on, Sharif. So my dad's a big Boston guy. He loves everything Boston except the Patriots. He became a Dolphins fan. So thank God. Maybe my life would be, I don't know, it wouldn't be better. It'd be 10 times worse. Anyways, we're not going down that avenue. I need therapy for all that. But what I'm telling you is my dad was a big Red Sox fan for years. And so, you know, it's interesting because, you know, I remember for years him just saying, oh my God, the Red Sox blew it again. Oh my God, the Red Sox blew it again. You know, they found another way to blow it, you know, and he would tell me stories about, you know, Bucky Dent and just everything when it comes to being a Red Sox fan and how well and they blew it. And then 2004
between
they're down,
the legs.
2004 they're down 3-0 in the American League Championship Series to the Yankees. And no team before that had ever been down 3-0 and made that amazing
win the series.
Right? They ended up winning 4 straight games to go and win the American League Championship Series, to go to the World Series and then sweep the St. Louis Cardinals. My dad, though, I remember after game 3, like, was pissed off. It's like, this effing team, they you know. And now I didn't know. I could never relate to that. As a kid, I couldn't relate to that, right? Like, I didn't understand the frustration, right? As a Dolphins fan now, for, you know, I'm 34 years old, I get it. I understand it. And what I'll tell you is, another point I want to do is, my dad had never seen a championship. You, Ruben, have seen a championship in your lifetime. Okay, you have seen this team win a Super Bowl. And no offense to you or anybody who's ever seen the Dolphins win a Super Bowl, for the fans that haven't, let alone haven't seen the team win a playoff game in 20 years. Like, the Dolphins won a playoff game in my lifetime, but I hardly remember it. I was, 12 years old? Something like that, 13 years old. It's just frustration.
I want to ask Ruben a question, though.
Hold on. Go ahead, Ruben.
They went to 2 Super Bowls in my lifetime.
All right. You know, my dad took me to the Super Bowl. I am lucky that my dad owned a corrugation company that he paid for the tickets, and we went to go see him. Hey, I went to Palo Alto when the Dolphins lost to the 49ers. I was heartbroken.
Roger Craig.
Yeah. All right. Even when they were out here, you know, in LA,
I got
when
nightmares of Roger Craig, man.
The thing is that I understand everybody's point of view of, you know, you guys haven't seen the Dolphins win a Super Bowl because you guys were, you know, a lot younger or weren't born yet. But there is always time to see your team win.
Say that to the 86 years between Red Sox World Series, or the 100 years between Chicago Cubs World Series, to the 2 or 3 generations of fans that didn't see it, right? There's that frustration part in there. And as a Dolphins fan, I let alone them win a Super Bowl, Ruben, I don't remember what a playoff win is like.
Yeah.
On that note, Steven, we will have to win a Super Bowl by the year. We will have to win a Super Bowl by the year 2080 in order for us not to be the next Chicago Cubs.
Well, here's the thing.
If we stick with Tua, we still won't.
I think the Tua train should be over. I think that Skyler's another issue. Whether he wins on Sunday or not, I think Chris Greer has to go as a general manager. I think the new general manager, I think once he cleans up and once he, you know, figures something out, it's just like you were saying, Steven, and I think it was somebody else was talking about it, Sharif, I think it was, is that we have to bring, and whether it's Tom Brady at nothing we don't want to spend or trade somebody for Lamar Jackson.
Right.
You guys were mentioning Lamar
That's
Jackson.
my mindset.
So my question to you, Ruben, is in terms of your scouting background and the technical, the padding level, and I guess the leverage and all of that things that you look for, right? So the question comes in an offensive lineman, and this is why I want Greer fired, because when we got Laramie Tunsil dropped to us because of a smoking
Sharif,
incident.
if you say anything about the offensive line, I'm going to go crazy, bro. I'm going to go absolutely crazy.
He's a talent evaluator, and I want to know if he's on the fence with me in that the talent he. Okay, so Ruben, when 3 years ago we lost Laramie and we knew we needed to build from the ground up for Fitzmagic. This is according to what's come out. This is when they wanted Brady at the time. But so you lost Laramie, and if you're scouting and this is your department, how do you miss on replacing Laramie with pedigree like Tristan Wirfs or a Penei Sewell, and you still could have gotten Robert Hunt, and you could have gotten Armstead. So my thing is, how do you evaluate Ruben? How do you miss on these guys?
It's bad scouting. I think everybody does it. Everybody scouts and everybody goes through their little draft.
Take a break, Sharif.
On their computer. They start doing their drafts over. I think Steven did a draft. I think Dudley Durong did a draft. But their choices were Ruiz at center. I think that was a miss. That was a 100% miss, which they could have had. And they could have had the left tackle. I don't know what they were doing.
Ruben, I'm going to interrupt you, Ruben. What needs to be said is,
no problem.
Is the Dolphins GM, whether it's Greer or Tannenbaum before that, or Jeff Fireland before that, all have done a pretty, with the exception of a few players here and there. Greer's had one really decent draft, right, out of the few he's had. Have whiffed on a lot of different players or not. But I think we can go down to every team in all of sports and go through each draft and say, man, that team could have had that person instead of that person. Or that team could have had that person instead of that person. There are, there's plenty of teams that, I mean, hell, the NFL whiffed on Tom Brady 6 times before they got to him in the 6th round. Right. So we can all come back to how Greer has whiffed on not finding superstars or not finding pedigree players or players that, in the trenches could help us. But I also think it's a team thing. Like, they've never made it a priority to really do that. They can say that they have. They can draft certain people. I have said for years that if the Dolphins want to be relevant, that they should use like 2 or 3 years worth of draft picks to build up an O-line. And just like that needs to be like bringing it. And if you whiff on some, so be it. But you got to think, if you gave 2 or 3 years worth of draft picks to specifically in the trenches, and a majority of the picks, I'm not saying all of them, but a majority of the picks, especially the high round value, you're going to have 2 or 3 people that pan out, to be really decent. And unless you're just straight up incompetent. And now you can make the argument that the Dolphins have been straight up incompetent at points, but I'd like to think, especially based on, Greer has had some semi-success in drafting, that they're not straight up incompetent. And that's what it is. And then the second thing is the quarterback situation, right? And look, they made their bed with Tua. They thought Tua was going to be the guy. And am I mad at them because they missed on Herbert? They made their bed with Tua, and it didn't pan out, right? And that sucks. But I guess as a fan and trying to be hindsight being 2020, I'm happy they tried. It's like it's something they haven't done in past years.
Exactly.
Same thing with Same thing with Tannehill, right? Now Tannehill was a wide receiver turned quarterback in college, and you spent a first round draft pick on Tannehill, but it's still they just have it. You can say bad luck, whatever it is. It is not panned out, and you just got to keep trying till you get it. But I don't know what the solution is. That's the problem for me. I don't have.
At the end of the day, we're all Dolphin fans till we die. The problem is that whether you like the person, the draftee, or not, you're still going to root for him. I wasn't a Tua fan, and I'm not a Tua fan. I'm a scout that sees talent. You got to see the it factor in a player. I didn't see it in Austin Jackson. I didn't see it in with the cornerback, number 9. I forget how to pronounce his name, which is trash. Those were 2 wasted picks in the first round.
John Beck.
John Beck. You can keep going. Here's the issue. The issue is
Tyler Thigpen.
And the list goes on, Steven.
And the list goes on.
But here it is. They drafted Tua, and Tua's who we have to back up.
Yep.
Because there's no other choice.
Now, and you know what? You know what's frustrating to me, Ruben? I'll tell you 2 frustrating things. The last 2 years backups, Jacoby Brissett last year and Teddy Bridgewater this year. And to me, those backup signings hurt, cost us wins just as much as, Tua being drafted and us making our bed with it, right? Because we've needed Jacoby to come in and win a couple of games, and he did win a game or two, but he didn't at certain times. And the same thing with Teddy, right? Teddy has yet to start and finish a game this year. He spent $10 million on him. He didn't work. Jay Cutler, same way,
I think Jay Cutler was a waste of money.
You're not wrong.
They still owe us $10 million for that.
So does Will Fuller.
Exactly.
Will Fuller owes us $10 million. Jay Cutler owes us $10 million, and Teddy Bridgewater owes us $10 million. As far as I'm concerned,
who put the organization in that situation?
I think Stephen Ross did. Stephen Ross makes the decision on who runs the franchise.
I think Chris Greer is the one that's responsible for it.
Well, and who put Chris Greer in charge?
Yeah, Chris Greer in his pride.
Who put
getting a franchise quarterback?
Wait. Steven, you do live in Baltimore, correct?
Yes. They have one of the best. The Ravens have arguably one of the best GMs for years in all sports, and Ozzie Newsome, and then Eric DeCosta right behind him.
I'm going to tell you as the organization I work for is in your backyard.
Oh well.
And who has the worst? Who has the worst? And I'm saying it because they still pay me good money. But you know them, the birds that fly.
Yep, I got you.
But it's an okay.
You need to hit me up. You need to hit me up behind closed doors.
Do you know how many times I have over 120 scouts underneath me? I run the Southern California base out here for scouting. Okay. And you know what goes behind closed doors when it comes time for the MLB draft? And we start discussing who we should draft and who we shouldn't draft and stuff like that behind closed doors. And then when the general manager decides, oh, no, well, I like this guy.
I mean,
do you know
do
you know how many scouts start throwing their bottles of water against the wall and saying, why do we waste our time scouting if you're just going to throw a dart and just pick a guy you like? Yep. So what made Chris Greer pick Tua over Herbert?
Ross.
Which Herbert is it. How do you know that Greer wasn't? Does everybody know that? How does everybody know?
He used to go to Alabama to watch him play.
Yeah, but was it Greer telling Ross, hey, this is the guy we need to get. This is the guy we need to get. And it could be in his ear.
Right.
Hey, Ross is going to say, hey, you know best. Whatever you want, let's go ahead and do it. Listen, we don't know what goes behind closed doors. All right.
I gotta wrap this up. I gotta get out of here. I gotta take my son to go get a haircut today. I gotta pick him up early from school. And then we're probably gonna go watch.
Anyways, it was nice talking to you guys.
Hey, Ruben, I love you, brother. Thank you for coming on, man.
I love your show.
I'd love to talk to you, man. You have Twitter or anything? Twitter, IG, something?
I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on Facebook. I am a guy that
you have email,
busy.
right?
I will get back with you guys. I have email.
In the description of the video is my email. Hit me up in email, man. I'd love to talk to you.
You got it, Steven. All you guys, hey, remember, don't give up on the Dolphins. Hey, there might be a lucky charm with Skylar there.
There might be. There might be. That's a big might, Ruben.
Hey, luck. Hey, you never
Steven,
know.
You're a hater.
I'm not a
never
hater.
know.
I would never try. All right, brother. Be good. All right.
All right.
All right. Crypto. Final thought, real quick. You got 20 seconds.
I'm not going to accept this hate that you got on Skylar.
Hate.
Listen,
hate.
He's throwing. Listen, in my alternate universe, which could come true, Skylar throws for 7 touchdowns, and he still gets shafted because we may have given up 8 touchdowns by the opponent quarterback. So, and then the two ears will still be saying, "See, he ain't done enough."
See that? Well, they're saying if Tua was in, he would have made 9.
Right. Exactly.
Out of here.
Exactly, Lance. Steven, you gotta have faith.
20 seconds. Hurry up. I have no faith. I don't have any faith.
Listen,
faith and hope have gotten me nowhere but disappointment. That's it. That's all it's ever
Especially
gotten
with
me.
Tua.
Circle January the 9th because it's going to be a bloodbath.
Get out of here, Crypto. Go find a hot dog.
You owe me 20.
I don't owe you 0 hot dogs. I'm just cutting you off. Lance, 20 seconds. Go.
I really got nothing more to say. So
I love you, brother.
I hope we win. I hope Skylar does do it. It is what it is. And hopefully we'll get rid of Tua at the end of the year. I don't know what we can get for him, but it is. It is what it is. We tried. We tried. Yeah, we tried to get make him better. He's just not there.
You just didn't do it. I get it. All right. Love you, brother.
So anyways, all right, love you. Bye.
All righty. Miami sports music. #1 Miami fan morning show. So good. It's so good. So good. My Jimmy Fallon impersonation. So good. It's so good. The #1 Miami fan morning show right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. I hope you all enjoyed the show today. There's a tear in my beer, and I'm a Dolphins fan here. Yes. The Dolphins. Will they ever make me happy? You know what I want to do? I want to do spoken word. I'm going to do a little quick spoken word for you off the top of the head. The Dolphins, they are a team that brings me pain and little joy. The Dolphins, they are the team that loves me back. None at all. The Dolphins, they are a team that drives me crazy. The Dolphins, when will you ever be good? The Dolphins, will you ever give me a winner and have somebody to look up to? The Dolphins Are you the team that I've been searching for my whole life? The Dolphins, the Dolphins, the Dolphins. Mediocre, mediocre, mediocre. The Dolphins, the Dolphins, the Dolphins. Will they ever be a good football team? Yeah, you guys like that, right? Let's go. Stephen De La Ghetto. I like it, S. Harris. I like it. I like it. Oh, man. Needed a good laugh. That was good. Okay. Tomorrow night, Jason Sarney, 4 o'clock. We'll be on the air. Saturday night kickoff. Hanging out with you on Saturday night at 4 o'clock. So hang out with them. We'll be on for like an hour, I think. So do good there, 4 o'clock. Monday, we'll be back. My hope is it'll be a victory playoff Monday. Victory playoff bound Monday. One last thing, man. Donate. Trying to raise, we raised some good money on the channel today. I'd like to raise a little bit more. Donate to the channel, or donate. It's not donate to the channel. Just so you know, I say that all the time, so it rolls off the tongue. Any donations that we get today are going toward Chasing M's, the Damar Hamlin Foundation. So please donate. I put in the Cash App and the PayPal. I'd love to get a couple big donations so that we can make a couple big donations. That would be awesome. So I love you all. You're all the best fans in the world. Some of you have reached out to me about some prizes that I have not been sent out. I want to say that that's on me. Been trying to get some stuff out. If you can, remind me. If you haven't gotten something, remind me when you won, what you won, and how you got it, because I need to get on it, and it's on me. You can put it on me. But I only think there's like 2 or 3 people. That's it. Everything else has been sent out. That's it. I think that's all I got. I love you all. You're all the best. I will see you all Monday. We're going to get this W. Okay? Color said he won $1,000. You didn't win $1,000. No, I never gave that out. Never gave that out, Color. I'm going to go out with this. Because why not? QB1. I love you all. We'll see you Monday right here on the Miami Sports Music's #1 morning show, Clock Blockers.
I know the whole city right. A little early, it's a bit surprising. Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter collar. Whole squad been trained to go. Fins for life, we throw the foe. Singing this just to welcome bro. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. My intuition told